Hello, sorry to be late. Just it was at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
On here, let's try that. Okay, testing. Can you hear me?
No, we can't hear you at all.
So I'm gonna tweak the audio as we go here. Am I coming through okay, Pineapple Dragon? And now that we've got you on screen, let me get you in the right place, Manuel, and we'll put everybody up on screen. But as we do that, do me a favor. We can hear everyone now. Okay, good. So what I want to do is I'm going to kind of go around, and we're going to start with you, Walrusy. Do a quick introduction of who you are, how you found the Rupture game, and what you're excited about.
I'm Walrus52. I really like walruses, obviously. I am an avid gamer in any type of game I can get my hands on. I found Rupture through RPG Blender by accident. He did a Rupture stream with some of his frequent cast members, and then I looked more into it and was like, this sounds awesome. I'm excited to finally use my D12.
So it's interesting, in that first game with RPG Blender that you're referring to, one of his players kind of coined the phrase, D12, how exotic. And I want to just explain to people where this whole D12 idea came from. So what happened is I've been playing RPGs for many years and realized that it was the die that got used the least, except for damage on certain weapons. And I thought, that sounds like a travesty. I don't really want to create a D4 system because that sounds boring. And there's a lot of D10 systems, a lot of D6 systems. There's obviously a lot of D20 systems. So I decided it was time to use the D12. Thank you for that. Grace, let's go with you next.
My internet's a little fuzzy. I'm Grace. I've played D&D for 5 years, and I found Rupture online through a D&D women's only Facebook group.
Nice.
Is that what you're asking?
I think too. I just find it also like that.
Very nice. Thank you and welcome. I'm glad you found us. And actually, we've been pretty active on D&D Facebook groups trying to find people who want a new experience. And you guys get to see me edit screens here as we go. I apologize for that. Thanks for your patience. Let's jump in with Purple Gorilla. Tell us about you and how you found Rupture.
Hi. So my name's Harold. I go by Purple Gorilla 1 on Twitter. And I'm a action ranger for Hunters Entertainment. I'm one of their paid GMs for conventions and stuff. And I was just perusing one of the Facebook groups and saw somebody asking about getting some playtesters, and I'm always up to try a new game.
And it's been fantastic.
Yeah, I've been playing games forever, ever.
I can relate. One of the things I think that's been fantastic is, as you've jumped in, you've actually found new connections to the group for lots of different games you've been running. I know Haplo and Brackish, for those of you that don't follow Brackish and Haplo's fictional reality podcast, you should. They were the first people to playtest live and became quite big fans of what Harold does with his games, and he's run a couple games for them as well.
Outbreak Undead, yeah. The zombie simulation survival game.
Oh, that is interesting that everybody just kind of flipped places on my screen.
I saw that too.
I saw that as well.
That was my fault. I just turned off my video so I could hear you guys better.
No worries. Let me rearrange everyone one more time. And yeah, if you want to keep your video off, we're okay with that. It's like musical chairs in here.
Randomized.
No kidding. So, boom, and I will throw your name tag up in just a second, Manuel. But Grace, let's go to you. I'm sorry, not Grace, Jenna. You're listed under Grace
Oh.
right now. My bad.
I said just
I thought they just went. Okay, I'm Jenna, and I'm going by Jenna, so that's straightforward. And I found this also actually a women non-binary Facebook group, and I was interested in. I can't remember. I feel like the something to do with it being like heavy role playing and some like being able to play animal like characters, which like I think that's why I got into it. And I'm interested in that. I'm excited about the role playing. That's kind of my favorite part.
Fantastic. And yes, that is one of the things that we built into Rupture very deliberately is we wanted to make sure that it was very heavy on the role play. In fact, the number one thing that makes Rupture successful is its emphasis on story. Story trumps all in Rupture. Mm-hmm. So we want to make sure that while we're going through this, and especially in character creation, you start your story out as you create your character. Okay, Maniel. Am I saying your name correctly?
Yeah, Maniel.
Okay.
It's my name online. Yeah, I found it via Facebook also on Women D&D, one of the such pages. And yeah, we with my group of friends, we were like in sort of a pause. We just finished a D&D campaign. We went on to some Animal. It's another RPG game. And we were like on a sort of break, and we were thinking maybe we should change DMs or so. And I found this new playtest RPG, and I was like, "Whoa, that seems really interesting!" And I told the pitch to my friends, and she said, "Yeah, okay, why not?" But we never had the chance to play it.
Very nice. Very nice. And you're joining us from France, correct?
Yeah.
So we are international today, guys. I love it. Thank you for being here.
So sorry if my accent or if I don't speak really well English.
We are here to help you every
And
step
neither
of
do
the way. What was that, Harold?
Yeah, I don't speak very good English either. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm sure that's true of most of us here. I mean, I'm from South Texas. I'm not supposed to speak good English.
From Georgia, so yeah, I feel you.
Nice. Okay, so while I get her name tag up, here's what I would like to do. Everybody, do you have a character sheet ready? First off, whether it's
Yes.
digital,
Yes.
printed, whatever.
Yes.
And do you have a set of dice ready, especially the exotic D12?
D12. I was just fishing that out.
Nice.
Yes.
Gosh, which one even is it?
The D12 looks like this. Every face of a D12 is
Okay.
a hexagon.
Yep, I've got one of those.
Awesome. One of the cool things about Rupture and the D12 system that we have built is one of my favorite features called the exploding dice. I want to touch on that for 2 seconds. Basically what it means is anytime you roll any type of a skill roll, any type of a check, if you roll a 12 on a D12, you pick it up, keep rolling, and keep adding. Last night in our in-house playtest, I had an opportunity to roll 3 12s back to back and then keep adding afterwards.
Nice.
It was so much fun.
One question about that. Do you keep it 12 or is it 11 and you roll again?
No, it's 12.
It's 12? Okay.
Every time you get a 12, you get to keep going. So it's 12 plus, 12 plus. So my 3 were 36, and the next one I rolled was an 11.
Right. That's where it's different from Outbreak is it's like if it explodes, it's like, because they use D6, so you count it as a 5 and then roll it again.
Got it. That's interesting. Nope, we love the number 12.
Little variations, right?
Yeah. Yep, it is fantastic. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to walk you guys through character creation. I'm sure most of you could do this on your own, but we're going to walk through together. First off, to make sure there's no misunderstanding. Secondly, because I know that people that are going to be viewing this, whether they're viewing it live or afterwards, can use that as a point of reference. I want to make sure that we're helping people get into this system more. And for those of you that are joining us, RuptureRPG.com. Go sign up. We've got 1 week left to get new playtesters in. And then we are launching on Kickstarter in September. And when we launch on Kickstarter, we have a lot of bonuses coming out that are going to be rewards to our playtesters, which nobody on this podcast has heard yet until now. So make sure you're getting on that list as early as possible. If you can get in as a playtester this week, you'll be part of that reward system. So without further ado, there are a couple things that are probably very familiar to you in Rupture, but there's some things that are probably not. The only thing I want you to do right now, players, is I want you to look in the manual, and I'm hoping you guys all have access to it. Look in the manual under species. The only thing I want you to do is decide what species is your character, and then give me a good reason why you chose that species. That's going to be step one, and then we're going to walk through the rest of this, rolling your background together.
Oh, God.
Well, no, there are gods, but that comes later.
I've already
for those of us
picked
who are
it.
just like skimming through
That was
these,
terrible joke.
I know, it was bad. I'm a dad, I can't help it. But it's required, it's part of the job description. Okay, so
for those of us just skimming through these, would you
Go ahead.
give like a little bit of an overview of each species?
Yeah, in fact, why don't we go through them together? I will give you a quick overview of each of them so that everybody's aware, and I'm pretty sure that Walrus has already picked his, but let's start with the most desirable species in every game, human. Humans are versatile in the land of Tural, and let me explain a little bit about the region you're in. The land of Tural, by the way, is a land filled with magic. 300 years ago, something happened called the Rupture. And what happened was there was a tear in reality that sent magical power rushing through all of creation. And so all of the glyphs that exist as the life force, the patterns that you see in everything in creation became magically activated, and magic flows through everything now. And in the land of Tural, humans are the most resourceful. They prize industriousness. They have built the most settlements, they have the most cities. They are one of the main parts of the Turalian Empire, which is a very tentative treaty between orcs and humans right now. And they also have an entire region of free men that refuse to be part of the Empire. They start with a special ability of having an additional D6 worth of skill points at character creation. The next species are the elves. The elves were responsible for creating the treaty between the orcs and humans that were at war for hundreds of years until they created this treaty. Some of the elves support the empire and the treaty that's kept peace in the land. Some have not and isolated themselves to a land called Ilsadel, far deep within woods where they have lots of protectors that they have magically created to keep outsiders out. The elves prize wisdom, and we're one of the few species before the Rupture that were very adept at magic. Because of that, they start with an ability called Defy Magic. And they are able to resist magic naturally. And I am realizing I'm looking at an old version. Give me 2 seconds, guys. This is one of the issues with being the creator, is you have 14 versions of the manual on your drive.
My version says Magic Flow.
Magic Flow, that's what I'm looking for. I'm like, yeah, that's not right. And let me... Yep, Magic Flow. Let's try that again, shall we? So, Magic Flow. This species, because they're so skilled at harmonizing with the magical flow in the universe, starts with a +2 to their mana base, which means they have more magic points to use. One thing you need to be aware of, characters in Rupture all use magic. So even if you are a barbarian who cannot cast spells, you will use the magical flow in you to enhance your abilities, to attach to magical weapons, to make yourself more special. And at any point, players, you got a question where I'm at, what I'm talking about, stop me and say, wait, go back and let's talk about that. So, the Jimnar. The Jimnar are nearly identical to elves, except they have very grayish skin tones. A lot of times they're called dark elves, which they consider a racial slur. They very much are the studiers, those who study spiritual practices and are very religious. They prize spirituality, and as such, they gain a +4 bonus to any roll to interact with any of the deities they choose to follow. See, we told you gods would come up later. Moving on to the dwarves. The dwarfs are short, stocky, and usually very hairy, and they live in one huge dwarven city called Highkeep. Used to be many different settlements, but they've dug into the side of this mountain so much, it has all become connected as one city. And dwarfs are very crafty. They love building, they love creating, they love making new objects. They prize craftsmanship, and being as strong and stocky as they are, they have a special ability of Mighty Punch, where they get to add +3 to any unarmed combat damage, which means a dwarf is never without a weapon of some sort if they've got their fist. Now the Skra. This is probably one of the most unique species we've created in Rupture. The Skra are neither male nor female. They do reproduce sexually, and at the time they choose a partner, and each one of them chooses which role they will play in the reproduction. They are very androgynous species. They prize glamour. They very, very much are about looking good and feeling good about the way they look. Because they are a lizard creature, they have the special ability of disease immunity. They suffer 0 negative effects from any illness. They cannot be affected. And then we move to the fairies. Fairies are your small winged humanoids who mainly exist within the enchanted forest. Cool note about fairies is before the Rupture, they did not exist in the land of Tyrell. After the Rupture happened, they started appearing in the enchanted forest, and then more and more in other places throughout the land. They are winged and they can fly, but they also have the special ability of mystical shield. Because they are magical beings themselves, they ignore the first 3 damage dealt by any magical source. They prize fun. The Stoneborn, another very unique species we've created in Rupture. So Stoneborn also did not exist before the Rupture. They are humanoids that are 100% made out of stone. They are heavy, they are dense, they do not move very fast naturally. Doesn't mean you cannot be a Stoneborn that has higher agility than others. But one of the cool things about Stoneborn is they all come into this land of Tyrell with this sense that they're meant to accomplish something and they're here for a reason. And they've got that voice in the back of their head that they're supposed to accomplish this mission. And the theory is once they have accomplished their mission, they'll be able to go back to the mountain they came from and live happy in whatever that land was like from where they emerged. So they prize destiny. Their special ability is stone body, and they start with 3 natural armor. And then we move on to giants. So the giants are large humanoids. We're talking 10 plus feet tall. They live high in the highest mountains in Tyrell, the mountain peaks of Loch Faltender. They prize leisure. They love having a party. They love drinking and eating and just enjoying life. They have a special ability of unwounded. Whenever they do suffer damage, they don't receive any negatives from the damage they suffer unless it's severe. So unless it's a level 3 wound, they have no negative modifiers. The next species is troll. The trolls are large, hairy humanoids that have canines that protrude out from their bottom lip and horns on their head. And these are very akin to the trolls you would find in legends in some of the Norwegian countries. And trolls live within the active volcanoes of the Riker Peaks. And being within the active volcanoes of the Riker Peaks, they're naturally hardy. They've learned to live in harsh environments. And because of that, they've also developed the ability to regenerate. They heal 2 life points per round. Even if they're in the middle of combat, they continually heal. They prize loyalty. They've learned to stick together because they've often been hunted by other species. Then we get to the orcs. The orcs are the counterpart of the Turalian Empire. The orcs actually are the head of the official religion of the Turalian Empire, which is the Princian religion and the only legal religion within the empire itself. Now, there's many regions throughout the land of Tural that are not part of the empire for those who choose not to be Princian. But you should note that the orcs try their darndest to make sure that everybody is worshiping the mighty prince only. Orcs are very fearsome. Orcs are very combat and very competitive oriented. And in fact, their special ability is frightening. They are so scary that non-allies in the presence of an orc suffer a -2 to any willpower roll to resist influence. Which means you might want to have an orc with you if you're trying to intimidate somebody. They prize strength. And then we come to gnomes. Gnomes are small creatures about the size of a fairy, so 1.5 feet or so, and consider themselves protectors of nature. They call the enchanted forest home because that is the place they believe all nature started from, and they protect it with a vengeance. With their connection to the natural flow of everything in the world, gnomes have the special ability of natural healing. They are able to touch an injured target and heal them for 1d6 life points naturally. They prize nature. Then the halflings. Halflings are half-size humans. There's nothing distinct about them other than the fact they're smaller than humans, naturally. And for years, they've been used as slaves in the human kingdom. The freemen up north of the empire don't enslave the halflings, but they definitely look on them as lesser. So there's a lot of contention between halflings and humans because of their past. Halflings have learned, especially because of the treatment they've had, the special ability of poison immunity. They will not suffer any negative effects from any poisonous substance. And because of their past, more than anything else, halflings prize freedom. And then in contrast to halflings, we have the hill folk. The hill folk are also small humanoids that are known to have large furry feet. And by the way, we're not going to use any references to anything that this might sound like in any mainstream fandoms. They live in peaceful farming communities. They love to eat. They love to grow food. They have the special ability of healthy meal. They actually regain life points from just eating good food. They prize simplicity. Then the goblins. Very similar to how the halflings were enslaved by humans, goblins were enslaved by orcs for many, many years. And the goblins that have escaped all live in a place called Deep Hole underneath the Loptfaltender Mountains that are tunnels only big enough for a goblin to fit in. They've learned to keep to themselves, to hide what they have. They are very protective of their possessions. Goblins are nimble and have learned to be able to squeeze into any space that they could fit their head into. So it's pretty easy for a goblin to get to places they're not supposed to be. And they prize secrecy. The Rajin are cat-like humanoids. They occupy a massive empire in the Michanja Desert down to the south. They have a very monarch-style hierarchy, and what they are born with, what type of cat they look like, determines their place in society. So, for example, peasants could have a lion cub Rajin that becomes royalty because he's a lion cub. They prize order And Rajin, because they are cat-like, start with claws that allows them to do 1d6 damage when they are doing an unarmed attack because their claws are sharp. So very similar to dwarves. A Rajin is never without a weapon. Then the ogres. Ogres are large, peaceful, green humanoids who stick to themselves for the most part because they're used to being ostracized by their races, other species, excuse me. Orc children very much pride themselves in finding their own place in the world as quickly as possible. They prize independence, and because they are so hardy, they get the special ability of Hardy, where they ignore the first 3 damage dealt from any non-magical source. And then last, but certainly not least, are the Kitsune. The Kitsune did not exist in the land of Taral till the Rupture as well. So far to the west, there's an island called Citadel. Citadel used to be just beautiful forests, and suddenly when the Rupture happened, all these ruins appeared on Citadel that seemed to be aging backwards. And the Kitsune appeared and seemed very protective of these ruins. And a lot of them don't even know why. It's just a drive they have to protect them. The Kitsune are magically adept, and they can attune, which attuning is how you attach yourself to a magical item to activate its effects. So they can attune up to 10 of their magic points without subtracting from the entire pool they have. And they prize inner peace more than anything else. So, any questions, players, on the species we have? Have you chosen one that you think works for you? Okay, Walrus, what species are you?
Kitsune.
Love it! I cannot say I'm surprised. Okay, Purple Gorilla, have you chosen one?
Yes, I would like to be a fairy.
Ooh.
Because I love having fun.
A fairy and a kitsune. Okay, so both of you really quick, why did you choose the species you chose?
For me, I'm always more aligned towards magical users, I guess, and Kitsune seem to gravitate towards that better than most of the other races, which is what brought me towards them at first. But then when I read more into them, I liked the whole concept of inner peace, and the Citadel ruins really intrigued me.
Nice. Fantastic. Okay, so Jenna, have you chosen a species?
Yeah, I want to be a stoneborn. And I have a question about them.
Yes.
Need to eat?
Say that again.
Okay. I asked if they need to eat, but you said yes.
Yes, they do. They definitely need to eat. They, for all intents and purposes, are a normal humanoid, except they're made from rock.
Okay.
Okay. Grace, have you chosen a species?
Cat.
The Rajin.
Rajat. I was going to choose Kitsune, but I was like, no, I will just not do that right now. I always feel an attachment to cats in RPGs. Like humanoid cats are kind of where I immediately am drawn to, and I especially like the outcast kind of part of Regine.
Fantastic. I love it. And Maniel, have you chosen a species?
I think I would be taking Nogre because their backstory seems nice. I was thinking of making a forgerer or so, if it's possible.
Absolutely it is, and we will get to that in just a second as we get to the background generator.
And I was like, no, a dwarf would be just too classical.
Love it. Love it. Okay. So, quick review. We have a Kitsune, a fairy, a Stoneborn, a Regine, and an Ogre. And I have to say, by the way, Maniel, I love that you're choosing Ogre as one of the least chosen species, but one of the most fun to play, I believe. So what we're going to do now is we're going to dig into the actual background generator. For our listeners, for our viewers that are not familiar with it, our background generator in Rupture very much starts the story for the characters before the game begins. We get to decide through this generator who their family was, things that happened to them in their childhood, how they grew up, and how that affected them as well. What we love to have you do as we go through this, players, is we want you to make sure that you're paying attention to the details and thinking about how does that affect my character's personality. Once we go through that, then we'll look at some of the stats in the classes and move on. Before we begin, do any of you have any questions? I'll take that as a no.
Can we choose or do we have to roll?
I'm going to prefer for this stream that we actually roll. Of course, in your own gameplay, you can choose. You don't have to roll what the background is. But I will say this. If you have a very specific background you want for a specific reason, tell me about it. And if I think it's going to work good with the game, I won't make you roll.
Okay.
But with that in mind, those of you that are following along as playtesters and do have a manual, we are on page 47, starting with family. So here's what I want you to do, players. Everybody grab your D12s, that exotic die that is now used more frequently than any other. And you're going to start with that chart right at the beginning that lets you know whether you were orphaned or not. So everybody go ahead and roll. And we're just going to round robin and tell me what you got. Okay, Walrus, what was your result?
I got a 9.
Ooh, you are not orphaned. Purple Gorilla.
5.
A 5. You are orphaned, but you know about your birth family. Which means we're still going to roll for their details. Okay, Grace, what did you get?
8.
An 8. You are not orphaned. Jenna?
Well, I rolled a 5, but I just saw that Stoneborns are supposed to skip this section.
Oh, yes, they are. Thank you for reminding me. I'm glad that you're looking at the manual. Yes, Stoneborn skipped this section, and the reason why, you have no parents. You literally emerge out of a mountainside one day, or a cliffside. So you get to relax and watch everyone else decide who their family is for just a minute.
Okay, relaxing sounds like my character.
Maniette, what did you roll?
A 10. So I got parents or siblings or both.
Yep, you are not an orphan. Congratulations. So, for those of you, actually all of you are going to be rolling in this section because all of you know about your family even if you're orphaned. The first thing you're going to do is roll for each of your parents. So you're going to, on this chart that says parents, you're going to roll twice. One for your mother, one for your father. So go ahead and roll both for your mom and dad and then tell me what you got on each. And once again, we'll start back with Walrus.
So I got a 1 for my mother, so she's dead.
She is. Your mother has died.
And I got a 12 for my father, so he's missing.
A dead mother and a missing father. And already the story begins. Purple Gorilla.
Both of my parents are missing.
Wow. I think we know why you're orphaned now.
An 11 and a 10.
Grace.
Mother, 2 for my father. So my father's dead and my mother's alive.
Okay, so your mother is alive and well, but your father has passed. And Maniette.
So they are both alive. I got a 5 and a 7.
Fantastic. We have a normal family that wasn't dead or missing. Only one, though. Okay, so let's move on to how many siblings you each had. Again, that is a D12 roll. So go ahead, Walrus. How many siblings do you have?
I rolled a 5, so that means I have 2.
You do. You have 2 siblings. And Purple Gorilla?
I rolled a 12. So
You
I have
5 siblings.
5 siblings.
Fantastic. That is a busy fairy family.
That makes sense, though. Fairies.
It does. They love fun. Okay, Grace.
2.
I'm sorry, what'd you get? Say it one more time. Did we lose you, Grace?
I mean, I come and I go here. I missed what you said.
Sorry, you have to say that one more time. I really can't hear you.
I got a 6.
6. 2 siblings. Okay, Manuel.
I got 12.
You have 5 siblings as well. So, just to make sure, everybody on your character sheet, just so you know where you're putting these, I want to make sure everyone's on the same page here. If you look on your character sheet, there is a page there that has, under background, your family. What I normally do is as I roll each of these, I just kind of write down one at a time, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and write what each roll is next to it. And usually it fills up without having a lot of space left over, but it all fits. So does everyone see where I'm talking about?
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Then let's jump into the next chart. Let's find out. We're going to go with the big families first this time. So let's go with Purple Gorilla. Let's find out of your 5 siblings, who's younger and who's older, and if you have any twins. So let's do each one of them. Ready? Number 1.
5.
So number 1 is younger than you. Number 2.
12.
Wow. A twin. Number 3.
8.
Older than you. Number 4.
1.
Younger than you. And number 5.
9.
9. Older than you. So 2 older, 2 younger, and a twin. Is that what I heard?
Yes.
So the twins are dead in the middle. That's interesting. Okay, let's go to you, Manuel.
So I got 2 older siblings and a twin.
So 2 older siblings and what?
And a twin.
2 older and a twin. And
No, 4 older. 4 older.
so the twins are the babies for you guys. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, Grace, your 2 siblings. Older, younger,
9.
or twin?
A 9 and an 8, so they're both older than me.
You are also the baby of your family. How interesting. And Walrus.
Ages, right?
Yep.
I have I rolled 12, so I have a twin, and an 8, and an older sibling.
Nice. Lots of twins going on. So a twin and an older sibling. And let's jump into the gender of each of your siblings. One of the things we also have is we have non-binary as gender in this because we realize your family background and what people identify as has a big amount to play on who you are as well. So let's go to Grace first this time. The gender of your siblings.
I have a sister and a non-binary.
Okay, a sister and a non-binary. Fantastic. And let's go to Walrus.
My twin is male, and my older sibling is female.
Fantastic. Purple Gorilla.
I have both my older brothers, then 2 younger brothers, and my twin is a female.
Nice. So 2 boys on top, 2 boys on the bottom, and you and your twin that is a female in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Manuel.
So I got 2 brothers and 3 sisters, and my twin is a female also.
Nice. Fantastic. And now that ominous chart. Are your siblings alive? Are they dead? Or are they also missing? And let me explain some of the chaos behind this chart to our viewers. In the land of Terrell, because magic is now so active and flowing through everything, a lot of times people who don't understand how to work with that magical flow that has now been activated will often become mana-torn, which means the magic is affected in a way where they lose their control of themselves. They become somewhat insane and often are loose or go missing, and weird things happen a lot. So it's a land that is magical, but also has its own dangers because of how magical it is. So let's find out for each of your siblings. Let's go to you, Walrus.
My twin is alive, and my older female sibling is dead.
Eek. Okay, Grace.
Both of my siblings are alive.
Fantastic. Purple Gorilla.
Both older brothers are alive. One younger brother is dead, and my twin is dead.
Oh dear. And Manuel.
So me and my twin are alive, and the rest are missing.
Wow, you have a lot of family missing. Now, the next chart over, we're going to talk about the position in society that your parents and your siblings held. And this is where a lot of the story comes into play. And I see that big smile that Walrus has. I think he's already gotten here and has a story fleshed out. That's delicious. Let's go through it for the viewer's sake anyway. One thing that is an error in the manual, once again, we're in playtesting mode. We haven't launched yet till September. Is the number 4 is not meant to be soldier like number 6. Number 4 was meant to be farmer. So if you roll a 4, whoever you roll that on is a farmer. So Walrus, tell us first about your parents and then your siblings' position in society.
So, my mother, who is dead, was an adventurer. I rolled a 12 on her. My father, who is missing, is a criminal.
That makes sense.
My twin is a mage, and my older female dead sibling is a soldier, or was a soldier.
Wow. Wow. Okay. That's a fantastic background. Purple Gorilla.
Give me 1 second.
No problem.
I have a lot to go through.
That's true.
I don't have as much to roll.
Let's go to Grace, because I know you've only got a couple siblings. Have you been able to roll on the position chart for your family?
Me?
Yep.
Are you asking me? Sorry.
Yes, I am.
Okay, my mother got farmer, my dad got royalty, my older sister got adventurer, and my older non-binary got merchant.
Interesting. Farmer, royalty, adventurer, and merchant. That's quite a family dynamic.
Yep.
You know, there's always interesting stories when you have one parent that's royalty and one who clearly isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Manuel, have you rolled your positions for your families?
Yep.
Okay.
So my mother is from royalty. My father is a mage. All my sisters, apart from my twin, are peasants, and my twin sister is a soldier.
Fantastic. Okay, Purple Gorilla.
Yes, I'm done now. My mom was a criminal. My dad was an entertainer. One of my older brothers is a noble, and the other is a criminal. A dead younger brother was a mage, which I think is really funny. My younger brother that is alive is a merchant, and my twin was a priest.
Oh, fantastic. And let me give you a little bit of a heads up here, group. What I'm going to have you do after we get through the end of all this is I'm going to have you go back, look at the details, and tell me the story of your childhood as if it was a story. So be thinking about that as these details roll up. Now the next chart is each of your family members' attitude towards you. Because we know sometimes Thanksgiving dinners with big, weird families don't go so well. So let's come back to Walrus first. What are your parents' and siblings' attitudes towards you?
My mother, who is dead, doesn't like me.
Oh, well.
She's dead, so whatever. My father, who's missing and also a criminal, likes me, which is a little weird. My twin likes me, which I'm glad about that. And my older sibling is neutral towards me.
Wow. Fantastic. Okay, Grace.
Like me, my older sister dislikes me, and my older non-binary likes me.
Nice. Okay, Purple Gorilla.
Hey, so my missing criminal mother is devoted to me, but my dad dislikes me.
Okay.
Probably because of the devotion. Yeah. My noble brother dislikes me. My criminal brother is neutral towards me. My dead mage brother was neutral towards me, and my alive merchant brother dislikes me.
Wow.
And my twin liked me.
Wow, that's an interesting dynamic. Okay, Manya.
So my two older brothers didn't like me at all. My two other sisters were neutral.
Okay.
My twin likes me. My mother is devoted to me, and my father likes me.
Wow. Okay, I am getting a lot of feedback. Does anyone else hear that? Or is that just me?
No, I do
I hear
it
it
as
too.
well, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to work on tweaking that as we continue. But holy cow, what a dynamic, people. And I think it might help if so while I'm tweaking that, let's move on to the next chart of the sanity of each of your family members. And this is where we're talking about not sanity as in mental health. We're talking about sanity as in, are they mana torn or not? Has the magic that now exists in the world affected them in some functional way? Okay, so go ahead, Walrus.
Everyone is sane except for my criminal father. He is monotorn and loose. He's also missing, so that kind of makes sense.
Wow.
Nice.
Okay. Purple Gorilla.
Is this me again? I'm sorry, I suck at this. Okay. My mother is Manitorn and loose. My father that is dead is sane. My older sister is Manitorn and incarcerated. And my older non-binary is sane.
Okay. Fantastic. All right, Purple Gorilla.
All of my family members are saying, besides my merchant brother that doesn't like me, he's Manitorn and incarcerated.
Of course he is. That makes perfect sense.
I mean, that's why he's a merchant. You know, he's one of those guys that has everything in jail.
Absolutely. Maniel?
All my brothers are sane. My oldest sister is also sane. My other sister is incarcerated and Manitorn. My twin is sane. My father is Manitorn and incarcerated, and my mother is sane.
Wow. A lot of all over the map here. This is going to be interesting to see how you guys flesh this out in your actual characters. So as we're moving forward, this is where the Stoneborn gets to jump back in with us. So families have been decided, and wherever you came from in the world, Jenna, and it can be any piece of rock anywhere that's big enough for you to emerge from, you have a place that you were born that is either wilderness, rural village, trading city, large city, and there's a lot of conditions that happened around there. So we're going to do one more chart that's everybody else that had a family background, because there's a species territory they might have grown up in, and then you jump in on the very next chart. So we're on page 48. So, Walrus, where did you grow up, within or outside of your species territory?
Let's find out.
Dun, 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 dun.
I rolled a 4, so inside of my species territory.
Fantastic. And because you are Kitsune, that means it is the land of Citadel.
Yep.
Okay, Purple Gorilla, what about you?
I grew up outside.
That could be anywhere in the land of Taral. Grace?
I grew up outside.
Again, anywhere. And Manuel?
Inside.
Beautiful. So for the ogres, that is the southeast peninsula called Budwick, that is full of farmlands that ogres have claimed. Now, we're going to get Jenna to go first on this chart because she sat without rolling dice long enough. So the general location...
That's all right. I was saying Stoneborns are patient.
I would hope so. So general location.
All right, general location is 5, so it looks like a village.
Yep. You grew up in a rural village after emerging from some rock somewhere. And we're going to go through the next 3 with you, and then we'll come back to each of the others. What is the location, or what is the location's atmosphere for that rural village? Roll the next chart.
I'm looking where I'm supposed to write that down.
Underneath, let me pull it up really quick.
Oh, is it region under background? Oh, wait, no, that's for the family.
Yep. I don't think we have a specific that says region. It's just under background. Just note that detail.
Okay. All right. So, location atmosphere is
Oh, yes. Under region, under background.
revolting.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. So I'll just put me there too.
Yep.
All right. So it's revolting population.
So a rural village that is revolting somewhere in the land of Taral. And you get to pick where that is. And then what is
Good for
this
them.
rural village's attitude towards you?
They dislike me.
Okay. Well, so a revolting rural village that dislikes the Stoneborn that emerged out of whatever rock nearby. That sounds
Yeah.
like an interesting hook for a background story. Okay, let's go to you, Purple Gorilla.
Okay. So I am from the wilderness, and around me is a revolting population. Could be close.
Okay.
And they dislike my family, but not me.
Interesting. Okay, Manuel.
So, it's a trading town with general discontent, and they see me as a hero.
Ha ha ha! There might be statues built to you. Fantastic. Okay, Grace.
Might be searching for better internet right now.
Got it. Well, let's go to you for now, Walrus.
Okay. I am in a large city. The atmosphere is content, and the town likes me and my family.
Nice. It's nice to
Okay.
be liked. Yeah, you're back.
I'm back. I am actually looking for better internet, so I'm going to be driving a little bit, but that's okay. So general location is wilderness. Atmosphere is, of course, now it disappears. Atmosphere is 5, which I think is general discontent. And then outlook is 12.
Ooh, so you are seen as a hero in that community of general discontent, even though
Well,
you
that's great.
were raised in the wilderness just outside where the discontent is happening.
Well, that'll be great.
There you go. So here's where we get to something very interesting, guys. This is where a deck of cards comes into play. So for those of you that have one handy, you're welcome to use your own deck of cards. For those of you that do not, I will be using the Bicycle Stargazer playing card set to help you choose your personal history.
Fantastic.
What's that?
I said fantastic.
It is. Stargazer, personal history. It's almost like it's written in the cosmos. So, how many of you have your own deck of cards you want to play with? Sweet. Okay, we're going to go to the people who have their own deck first. First, roll a d12.
Does this count?
Does what count? Say that again.
No, it's not. Snow Island lands don't count. Or at least I think it was a snow island.
I didn't see what you held up. I was looking away. That's hilarious. No MTG cards.
It was definitely an island. It looked like it was a snow too.
Yeah. I also got this saga, if you want.
There you go.
I rolled a 10. I'm not sure if that's good or bad though.
Well, a 10 divided by 2 is how many cards you will be drawing.
Okay.
And on the personal history, blacks are negative, reds are positive. So go ahead and shuffle, draw your 5 cards. And while you're doing that, we'll go to Jenna. You are muted.
Thanks. I rolled a 10 and I'm shuffling.
Nice. So you also have 5 cards. What about you, Purple Gorilla? What did you roll?
I rolled a 11.
Nice.
But I don't have cards. You'll have to do that for me.
I will. And this is the one place and only place in the game of Rupture where you actually round up. Because we like more things happening to you. So your 11 gets you 6 cards. Maniette, what did you roll?
Fake cards. I don't have a deck of cards.
Okay. Well then, let's do this. We're going to go to, I will be drawing in the order I called out your name. So I'm going to be drawing for Purple Gorilla first. And I'm going to do it this way. Viewers, we have 10 of you out here. I need 6 numbers. That's how far down in a deck of 54 cards I will draw. So give me some numbers. So number 3 is your first card. Anything up to 54.
Leave the jokers in.
Yes.
I'm sorry?
Sorry?
Yes, you do want jokers.
I thought so.
Oh, a 6. You guys are getting real low numbers here. You can go all the way up to 54. 28. Perfect. $28. I need 3 more. Ooh, 54. I need 2 more. Come on, viewers. 2 more cards. 11. And I did shuffle 4 times, by the way, so. And 13. Okay, so while I have those drawn and I'm going to sort them out, go ahead, Walrus, tell us, what did you draw?
I drew the Ace of Hearts, the Queen of Hearts, the 9 of Clubs, the 10 of Spades, and a red Joker.
Ooh, that is interesting. So let's go through each one of those one at a time. Let's do your black cards first.
Okay, so I got the 9 of Clubs, which is an addiction.
Yep.
Can be any substance the narrator approves. You must roll willpower save to resist this substance.
Absolutely, and it can be any substance. Like, I don't care if it's orange juice. You're addicted to something that when you encounter this substance, you must roll a willpower to resist going for it.
I will have to figure that out then.
Nice. What other blacks did you have?
And then I got the 10 of Spades, which it looks like it's a stressful year.
Yep. So,
you had a particularly gruesome year that has left you frazzled in some way. Lose 1 attribute point from any attribute that is above 1.
Yep. So your attribute points, which we're going to figure those out after we do this background generation, are up at the top left of your sheet. Next to that, just mark a -1 nearby so you can remember.
Okay.
And did you have any other blacks?
No, it was just those two.
Okay, on to your reds.
So I got the Queen of Hearts.
Ooh.
Which says natural talent. You have a knack for excelling in your trade. Add 3 to any class skill.
Fantastic.
I like that a lot.
Well, next to the word skills, just write a +3 with the word class next to it. We'll get to class skills in just a minute.
Okay.
Next.
And then I got the Ace of Hearts, which is favor. You have a powerful person of influence or group that owes you a favor. The details must be approved by the narrator, but this functions as an in-story bonus.
And it's very open to what makes sense to your character's story.
Okay. So another thing I'll have to figure out later.
Yep.
And then the last one is I got a red Joker.
So the red Joker, let me explain the Jokers. The Jokers are either divine gifts or supernatural curses. These are powerful bonuses and minuses that affect your character in some way. Luckily for Walrus, it is the red Joker, which is a divine gift. So roll another d12 and let's see what that gift is.
Wish I got the black Joker. Be more fun.
I agree. I love the little crutches that you have on characters that add personality.
So I rolled a 1.
Ooh.
Which is a divine ruler. You have become the ruler of a significant area, village, tribe, region, equated to about 300 people, and they see you as divinely appointed. They know you were chosen by some divine power to lead them to greatness and will exhibit extreme loyalty to you and your cause.
That is interesting. A kitsune who has been chosen as a divine ruler of some tribe or village somewhere.
I might just pawn that off of my twin.
Apparently everybody has got a frozen video is what we're getting here.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
I've been switching screens so often I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jenna's the only one
well.
that is moving. Oh, nope, now frozen.
No,
No,
Jenna's
she
still
isn't
moving
frozen
for me.
Oh, okay, yeah, just went back, yeah.
I wonder why. I will work my best at fixing that. We're going to keep going while I figure out how to fix that. But I'm not sure why that's happening because I'm seeing you just fine on this screen. I'm seeing Jenna just fine on this screen. And the rest of us don't move.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little weird. Oh, yeah.
That is really weird. I don't even know what to do with that, honestly.
I don't know why I'm moving.
Jenna, make facial reactions for all of us.
Yeah, you have to act like that.
I will work on getting that fixed as quickly as possible, viewers. I am also trying to, of course, keep the action moving forward. I guess, hey, welcome to our new audio podcast for today. So, yeah. Let's go to Purple Gorilla, because I've already drawn your cards for you. Then we'll jump to Jenna, and then we'll go to some of the others I'm drawing for. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Okay, so our chat has drawn for you 4 blacks and 3 reds.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Black number 1. I don't know why I'm holding this up to the camera. If I'm frozen,
Wait.
you guys can't see it.
Wait, did you just say 4 blacks and 3 reds?
I did.
That's 7 cards.
Oh, 2 reds. Sorry. Thank you.
Okay.
I can't. The top card on the red stack was a 3, so I looked at it and said 3 red.
Okay. I was just making sure. I was like,
Yeah.
those numbers don't add up. We can't go beyond 6 cards.
Okay.
No, they don't. So 2 of clubs
Two
is his
clubs.
number 1, which they can see on Discord, and for some reason the rest of you audio listeners cannot right now. Don't you love technology? So that means crime and punishment. Roll me a d12, Mr. Gorilla.
All right. 3 major crime.
Ooh. So
Another
you.
D12.
Yeah. Roll a d12 again.
5 years.
So you have spent 5 years in prison. I don't know why the word prison is missing from there, but we'll make a note of that. You have spent 5 years in prison for some major crime. You get to determine the details. Number 4. This is a 4 of spades.
Okay.
Go ahead and read what that is to our viewers, listeners, I guess I should say now.
Okay. So that is a victim of a violent act. This will not cause permanent physical injury, but leaves psychological scars. Must roll a willpower save not to react harsh or rashly in a similar scenario.
Yep, you have a traumatic trigger of some sort. And this has come to play in a few games. I have a player who loves to be scared of moose all the time. So I make sure moose are in that game a lot.
Yeah, of course.
But it could be anything. It could be you witnessed something. It could be you were part of something that when it comes up again, it could be triggering.
Mm.
And you'll make sure that we see it.
What's that?
And you'll make sure that we see plenty of it.
Enough of it that it builds character. We'll leave it at that.
Mm.
Now, the Jack of Spades.
Okay, so that is a vendetta. A certain group wants me dead for some reason, and they're taking some action to pursue me. Watch my back.
Dun. And last, the Queen of Clubs.
Ooh. Tragic romance. I had a relationship that did not end well. My significant other's family and friends are probably saying horrible things about me and affecting my reputation.
Oh, so your family wants you dead?
Yeah.
Sounds like it. Yeah, so you slept with the wrong person, apparently, in some point.
I mean, we like to have fun.
Yeah, this is true. So let's get to your red cards. Let's give them a little bit of a help here. 3 of diamonds.
3. So that I am a traveler. I'm well traveled and have a great sense of direction. I add 2 to any roll to find direction to figure out where I am.
Could come in handy if that group kidnaps you. And the 8 of hearts.
8. That is improve a skill. I was diligently practicing and studying, and it shows I add 2 to any skill.
Fantastic. There's your minuses, there's your bonuses. All right, Jenna, what did you draw?
All right, I got a Jack of Clubs.
Okay.
So that looks like it'll be a vendetta. A certain group wants me dead for some reason, and they're taking some action to pursue me. Need to watch my back. Do I record this under... Where do I record all this? Under advantages, disadvantages?
If you look
Personal history.
under advantages and disadvantages, personal history events. So the event would be vendetta,
Okay.
and the effect is a brief description of what it is. Or if it
Okay, great.
applies to a mechanic, write what that is.
Okay. And then I know you're all jealous of me, but I got a black Joker.
Oh dear.
Five, so target. You seem to attract trouble wherever you go. A day will not go by that you don't have an encounter with some sort of creature or person that is not friendly.
Wow.
All right.
I think I know why you got into the vendetta.
All right, so I've got my last black is a 6 of clubs,
All right.
which is enemies. You have made an enemy. They will not go out of their way to hunt you down, but they will not help you and may try to hinder you when you cross paths.
Ooh.
Now I've got some positives.
Good. It sounds like you need a few.
God, and yeah, I mean, luckily I'm pretty relaxed, but sounds like I got a rough life for it. All right, so but I do have a favor. I have a powerful person of influence or group that owes me a favor. Details must be approved by the narrator, but this functions as an in-story bonus.
Fantastic.
I need to pick.
Say that one more
I need
time.
to
You
pick
cut
that
out
now.
at the end there.
Do I need to pick that now?
No, that can be chosen later.
Okay. All right, and then last is 4 of Hearts, which is hidden location. You know where a hidden place of some historical, theological, or other significance is. Narrator must approve the details.
Yep. On anything that it says narrator approved details, I'm going to tell you guys as a group, let your imaginations go wild. You tell me who the group is that owes you a favor and why they exist and what the hidden locations are. You get to write and create. I want to hear the most interesting stories you can come up with based on, hey, we've given you a couple details to play in. Come up with a story. If you need help, I'm here to help. But this is for you to go wild on with the background story. Okay, so let's go to Grace. And how many cards did we have for you, Grace?
3.
All right, audience. We're going to pick Grace's 3 cards since I'm holding the Stargazer deck here. Give me some numbers. Anything up to 54. Actually, 56. There's the jokers in there.
It is 54 because it's 52 card deck.
54. Thank you.
Boom. Oh, wick on the draw.
26. All right, 19. Boo, 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 boo. And 54. Let's see what you've got. 42 we will apply to the next draw, Fox. Well, you have 1 black, 2 reds.
Nice.
We will start with your black. Your black is a 10 of clubs. Do you have the manual in front of you, Grace?
Yeah. Year.
Go ahead and read it for us.
All of it? Stressful year. You had a particular gruesome year that left you frazzled in some way. Lose 1 attribute point from any attribute that is above 1.
All right, -1 attribute point because of a stressful year. Now let's go to your positives. Number 2, 2 of diamonds.
2 of diamonds? I won an award.
Yep. Go ahead and read it for the audience.
You received some honor from a group of some sort, and you will be remembered for it in circles that place some significance on that particular acknowledgement.
Fantastic. And number 10, 10 of diamonds.
Lucky break. You add 1d6 times 100 vials to your starting money.
Which you start with 1d12 times 100, so you have a chance of having 1.5 times maximum starting money. So, a lot of interesting luck there. And let's get to you, Manuel.
Yes, so I got 3 cards.
Okay, so the first one is going to be number 42, and I need 2 more numbers, people. Come on, 2 more numbers. 12 and 13. There we go. Okay, your 3 cards are... Oh, goodness. We have another joker. This is the most jokers I've seen pulled in any group. This is interesting. Let's start with your blacks. 7 of clubs. items. Go ahead and read that for the audience.
7. So this will not cause a permanent physical injury, but leaves psychological scars. You must roll a willpower save to not react rashly to the same creature on the future.
Yep, attacked by a wild creature, and so you have issues with that creature. All right. Red, 10 of diamonds.
And so I got lucky break.
Yep.
I also add 1d6 of hundreds vials to my starting money.
And you got, I know it's hard to tell with this deck, but it is a red joker. So, another divine gift. Roll a d12 and let's see what your divine gift is. And thank you, lucky number 13. You chose that for her, Walrus. You have a tendency to gravitate towards red jokers.
Nice.
Okay, I got 3, so it's divine guidance. A voice in my head will guide me and aid me. And through words, and images, I will be guided to safety. This functions like a guardian angel or a sixth sense.
Fantastic. Well, with such tumultuous backgrounds, that might be a gift that this group uses quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you guys have got now a lot of details for your background. With those details for your background, start thinking about how that story comes together. How do all these pieces of who your family was, who you are, where you were raised, and what happened to you so far in your life create who you are as a character? And while you're thinking about that, we are now going to go to your attributes. So in Rupture, there are 8 attributes. For each attribute, you can do one of 2 things, and I'm going to leave it up to you what you do. So you can either roll a d6 for each one and take the roll you get, and that's what it is. Once you roll 8 d6s, you can rearrange as you want. So if you rolled a 6 last, but you want that in agility, you're welcome to move that 6 to agility. Or you have 30 points to spend. And with each of your species, there are some attribute bonuses and minuses. So has everybody taken note of what those are? Is that something we need to go over together? Everyone good on the bonuses and minuses for their species?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. In that case, either roll or distribute the 30 points as you see. When you are ready, let us know, and we're going to jump into classes. Constitution, and I'm going to give you a quick description. Strength is obviously how strong you are, how much physical power you can put behind what you're doing. Constitution is how tough you are, how much physical stress you can endure without getting hurt or damaged, or how much damage you can take before you fall unconscious. Agility is how well you move. This is not just speed and quickness, this is also how well you can do things like sleight of hand. How good are you at actually controlling your movements? Perception, which is how observant you are. And this isn't just sight. This is perception of all sorts. Of social situations, of hearing, smelling. Intelligence deals with your book smarts and your ability to accumulate new knowledge as well as apply that knowledge appropriately. Willpower is how well you were able to resist influence, how well you're able to let's speak again. How well or charming, how good are you in social situations? And then one of the unique attributes for this system that are not in a lot of other systems is luck. Because sometimes you've got that opportunity to say, I really want to find a big scary moose. And the narrator hadn't thought about, are there big scary moose in this area? Well, let's roll luck and find out, shall we? So, has everybody had a chance to look at their attribute points?
I need you to go over what I'm doing for this part again. Sorry, I accidentally muted myself.
Okay. So with your attribute points on the character sheet, if you notice under the attributes block, there are 8 of them.
Yeah.
You may do one of two things. You may roll a d6 8 times and then distribute accordingly, or take 30 points, and it's 1 for 1 points, and buy the attributes you want. Since you are a Stoneborn, something you need to note is you have minuses and pluses to certain attributes naturally. So you naturally have a +4 to strength and constitution, a -3 to agility, a -3 to charisma, and a -2 to luck. No attribute can go below 1, and as level 1 characters, no attribute can go above 6, as in 6 points. So for example, if you were to spend 6 on strength, your strength would be a 10 at level 1 because of that natural +4 bonus. Does that make sense, Jen?
Okay, so yeah, so if I've got a -2 in luck from being a Stoneborn, does that mean that I have to add 3 to that?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
I rolled, because I usually roll really well whenever I roll characters, and I rolled for exactly average. Actually, I rolled below average. Nothing above a 3, but okay, we can live with this.
Wow. That is ridiculously average. Normally when I roll for any character, it's always 6, 6, 4, 4, a bunch of 1s.
For characters in D&D, which means you roll D12, you roll a whole bunch, and I've gotten like 18, 18, 16, 15, 14. and my DM goes, "You can't take that." I'm like, "Okay, fine, I'll -3 from one of them."
Alright. So if I've got a racial +4 to my strength, and I were to roll a 6, I could only give myself a total of 6, not the full 10.
Oh, no, it will be the full 10. You can only spend 6 points on any one attribute at level 1.
Okay, but the total can be above 6?
Yes, the total can be above 6. You just can't put more than 6 points in it.
Okay, then but I can't go below 1 for the total?
No. And in all honesty, this is kind of my own little house rule, just because to me the stats are just a starting point for your character anyway. If you were to say roll a 1 and I'm going to stick that 1 in something I have a minus in, it's just automatically a 1 out for me. Okay. I'm not going to make you have to buy the negatives up. It doesn't work as well if you're doing point buy, unfortunately. And then, okay, Walrus, I'll bet you've got your stats done.
Yeah, I just finished up.
I can tell from the big stretch of relief that none of our viewers can see, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
So, tell us what stats you have for your Kitsune.
Okay, so I did rolls. I didn't actually do the... I think I'm right around average. I can't really tell. But so I put 4 into strength, but I have a -2 for being a Kitsune, and I put my -1 in there also from my stressful year. So my strength is 1. I rolled I put a 3 into Constitution, but -2 for Kitsune makes it a 1. I put 2 into Agility. I put 5 into Perception. I put 5 into Intelligence with a +3 makes it an 8 for Kitsune. I put 5 into Willpower with a +3, it makes it 8 also. And then I have 2 Charisma and I put 5 into luck with a -2 from Kitsune, making it a 3.
Wow.
So overall, it's down the line 1, 1, 2, 5, 8, 8, 2, 3.
So you're the tank, right?
No. Not in the least bit. Not even jokingly, I am the tank.
Fantastic. Okay, do you have yours, Purple Gorilla?
I do. As a fairy, I get -4 to strength and constitution, so that's where I put my 5s. So I have 1 in each. I also get a +4 to agility, so I put a 4 in that to get an 8.
Woohoo!
I put 3 into perception, 4 into intelligence, 2 into willpower, and then I get a +2 to charisma, of which I added a 2 to make it a 4, and I get a +2 in luck, which I added a 4 to make it a 6, because I believe that luck is probably pretty helpful.
Nice. Very fantastic. Okay, what about you, Manuel? Do you have yours?
Yes, I got it. So I rolled mine. I got 33 in total. So with my race, I got +2 in strength, +3 in constitution, -3 in willpower, and -2 in charisma. So in total, I have 8 in strength, 9 in constitution, 2 in agility and perception, 5 in intelligence, -1 in willpower, 0 in charisma, and 6 in luck.
Okay, so your -1 and 0 automatically become 1 because they can't go lower than that.
Okay.
So go ahead and make them 1. But interesting, maybe we have found our tank.
Yeah.
Okay, so Grace, do you have your stats?
Yeah, mine is done. So with all the pluses and the minuses, I have 3 in strength, 2 in constitution, 5 in agility, 3 in perception, 2 in intelligence, 1 in willpower, 1 in charisma, and 3 in luck.
Minus those 1s, it's pretty average.
See? I'm exactly average.
There you go. Okay, Jenna, have you gotten yours?
All right, yeah, they've got a 10 in strength,
Nice.
10 in constitution. Yeah. 1 in agility, 1 in perception, 3 in intelligence, 3 in willpower, 1 in charisma, and 1 in luck.
Wow. So definitely very stacked one side and very unstacked the other.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So just so that everyone's aware, a 3 in any stat is about average human level. So your average human intelligence would be 3, your average human strength would be 3, etc. So the higher you go above 3, the more above average you are. The more you go below 3, the more below average you are. Now let's go to classes. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying okay.
Okay. Let's go into classes. So something interesting about classes when it comes to Rupture is each class is based on 2 different attributes. So you're going to have skills you start with based on the class you chose. And you want to make sure that your 2 attributes match what that is if you're going to be very successful at that class. You are welcome to, by the way, at this point, since I know it's a first game for everybody, rearrange attributes as needed if it's not matching the class you need. As long as you're not going outside of what you either rolled or the point bar. So classes start on page 75, and I'm going to go through them briefly for you guys and for the listeners. So Assassin. Assassins start with the 6 skills of an agility-based weapon skill, which there are several of, so you choose the one you want. Stealth, athletics, conceal item, trap usage, and alchemy. And they are based on agility and intelligence. And when you choose your class, by the way, what I want you guys to do is write down the 6 skills that are your class skills. Some of you got bonuses to a class skill, but all of you will put a rank of 3 in those class skills automatically. And then add whatever bonuses you got because of your background. Then there is Barbarian, based on strength and constitution. They will choose a strength-based weapon skill. They get block, brawling, resist hot and cold, resist disease, and resist fatigue. Then you have the Bard. Now, something interesting about Bards in this system is they are very charismatic and they're very much based on charm, like in many other systems. But you have to decide, are you the Bard that is trying to persuade or deceive more? So as a Bard, you will choose Perform. You will choose either Persuade or Deception. You will choose Disguise, Detect Deception, Detect Magic, and Eavesdrop. And that Bards are based on Charisma and Perception. Bounty Hunters. And Bounty Hunters are very, very important in Alana Toral, especially with all the Manitorn people going wild. They're based on Perception and Agility. Their skills are Tracking, Discern, Detect Deception, Stealth, and Agility-based Fighting skill. Notice it doesn't say weapon skill here. So it could be, for example, Martial Arts, which is not a weapons-based skill. And Dodge. The Cleric. The Cleric is one of our first spell casting classes we've come to. And Clerics are based on Intelligence and Charisma and have Divine Magic, Glyphs, Relic Creation, Research, Inspire, and Persuade. And I'm going to take a quick second. I want to talk about the magic system for those who are going to be spellcasters and any of the listeners who want to know about the magic system in Rupture. So the magic system in Rupture works on 3 skills. There's your magic skill that casts the spell. There's the glyphs, which is your understanding of all the magical patterns, how to manipulate them to make the spell happen correctly. And there is token or relic creation. Relic if you're a cleric, token if you're a mage, which is the thing you use to cast the spell with. Think of like a wand in Harry Potter or a staff in Lord of the Rings, something like that. So as magic users, you take a token, the wand, the staff. It could be anything you want. We have a character in a game we're playing with Haplo and Brackish that uses a clay roof tile to cast spells with. So you'll take that token or relic and you look at the glyphs or patterns and actually etch them into that thing. And then when you pump magic through it, you cast the spell based on how successful you are at rolling. So it's very, very easy. You don't have to have prepared spells. You don't have to have memorized spells. You don't have to have specific things. As long as you have the glyph of the spell etched into your token or relic, you roll the magic ability plus intelligence and the roll. And that's it for every class. Which brings us to our next spellcasting class, the Druid. So Druids are based on intelligence and charisma as well, but their skills are nature magic, token creation, glyphs, train animal, disguise, and mimic. And then the Mage. The Mage has as their attributes intelligence and willpower. So mages choose a magic school of choice except for divine or nature. And there are lots of magic schools to choose from. For example, earth, air, water, and fire are all their own different schools. And one of the interesting things about Rupture is you don't have to choose only one and stick to only one. You may choose one as your main class skill, and anybody, even, for example, a barbarian, can learn a magic skill. You could have a barbarian, for example, that also knows how to cast fire magic spells because it's something he learned along the way. So, as there are schools you want to get into, you get to learn those as you go, in character creation and in the story. So back to Mage. Magic school of choice, token creation, glyphs, resist magic, resist influence, and research. And then the Monk. As a monk, you must choose either agility or strength, and your secondary would be constitution. If you choose agility, you're getting martial arts, acrobatics, and dodge. If you choose strength, you're getting brawl, athletics, and block. And constitution, you get meditate, resist hunger and thirst, and resist hot and cold. And then the Paladin. The Paladin is based on strength and intelligence. They get a strength-based weapon skill, block, brawling, and they get divine magic, relic creation, and glyphs. The Paladins do cast spells exactly the same way as clerics do. And then the Ranger. Agility and perception based. they get an agility-based fighting skill, escape and dodge. And for perception, they get tracking, navigate, and discern. And the thief. The thief is the only class that is based on one attribute, not two. It is only based on agility. So they have escape, conceal items, stealth, dodge, lockpick, and pickpocket. The warrior. Strength and agility based. They get a strength-based fighting skill, block, and athletics. They get an agility-based fighting skill, dodge, and acrobatics. So those are the basic classes that Rupture starts with. So players, have you chosen a class?
Yes.
I have.
Let's think.
Okay, Purple, let's go with you first.
I'm going to be a thief.
Woohoo! A fairy thief. Love it. So you've written down all 6 of your starting skills and put a rank 3 in them, correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, let's go on to Walrus.
Surprisingly, I know I chose a mage.
Shocked to no end.
Yeah, I know, right?
So you definitely want to scroll down to where the skills are and look at all the different magic schools and choose one as your primary that counts as your class skill. Have you
I
done
chose
so
Earth
already?
Magic. Earth Magic.
Nice. The Earth Magic Kitsune. Excuse me, wetting the whistle a little bit. Okay, Manya, have you chosen a class?
I'm hesitating between monk and paladin. Paladin would suit me more because of my guidance, because of my also the view of my village.
Mm-hmm.
But it is intelligence based, and they have only a 5 in intelligence.
A 5 is not bad. Remember, average is 3, so you're still above average. And I kind of like the idea of an ogre paladin. That means we get to dig into religion with your ogre and decide which deity or deities they are beholden to.
Okay, then I will be a paladin.
Fantastic. Okay, let's go to Grace. Have you chosen your class?
Hunter.
A bounty hunter, huh?
Yeah, we'll see.
I love it. Bounty hunters are one of my favorite classes to play when I'm actually a player, which honestly, it's been very interesting for me. I've been able to be a player more often than a narrator for the last few months because of what we're doing with development. So this is my first time narrating in a little while.
Nice.
So did you get a chance to scroll down to skills and choose your agility-based fighting skill?
I haven't chosen it yet.
Okay.
We'll figure it out.
Okay. And let's go to Jenna.
Cleric.
A cleric. Fantastic. So we're going to get a couple of deities into play here at least.
But does that mean I'm going to be bad at it if my intelligence and charisma are low?
The beautiful thing about Rupture is no, you're not necessarily going to be bad at it just because your intelligence and charisma are low. I would suggest rearranging some stats at this point to match it a little bit better, but I have had, for example, and it's in the lore of one of the main characters behind the whole story of the Rupture is a stone-born mage who had very, very low intelligence and just taught himself over many years. And he's now one of the heads of the Magical Academy in the Empire. So,
Okay.
in fact, one of my favorite character archetypes to use as an example with people is the fairy barbarian that rides in on a horned lizard into battle. Even though that doesn't sound like it matches a fairy at all.
Okay.
Let your imaginations go wild.
How long ago was the rupture?
300 years ago.
Okay.
At the point you guys are
Were
playing.
all the Stoneborns? Yeah. Were all the Stoneborns born at that, like, on that night?
No, very few were. Stoneborns just were never seen until that point. So the assumption
Okay.
here is you might have only been born a year or two ago. You could have been born hundreds of years ago. That the choice is yours.
Okay.
Because stoneborns have no natural lifespan. They just go back in their rock one day.
When they're done.
Yep. And stoneborns cannot have children, by the way. I'm assuming
Okay,
this is
can
not going to
they-
be an adventure you wanted to do that in, but just so we're saying that.
Can they do they procreate?
They do not. Stoneborns cannot procreate.
Unless you're creative.
Yes, unless there's some other things at
cuddle.
play. Okay. So let's jump into skills. I want everybody to now roll a 2d6. And that sounds like a snake eyes, whoever's laughing there.
Pretty close. 1 and 2.
Oh dear. Okay.
I got 3. I also got a 1 and a 2.
Wow.
I got the direct opposite of those. The 5 and a 6.
Interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how this fleshes out all together. So those are your additional skill points to either add to the class skills you just wrote down or to choose any other skill you want in the game. There are no limits to what you can use. So you could be this big bad barbarian who happens to also be a sous chef and is great at cooking. So the skills start on page 88. And while you guys are choosing how to use those points, and it's 1 for 1, by the way, I am going to read through some of these skills for the sake of the listeners. So under strength, and each of them are listed underneath an attribute. Let me explain how rolling works in Rupture. Almost everything is a d12 plus the skill plus the attribute. If you don't have the skill, it's just the attribute. So for example, stealth. You would roll a d12, add the rank in stealth, add the rank in agility. If you don't have stealth, it's just agility. Next to each of the skills, you've got boxes that are called successes and boxes that are called critical failures. Every time you succeed, you are going to mark an X or a check or something in those boxes. When it fills up, you go up in rank. Every time you critical fail, which means you roll a 1, you mark a box in there because you also learn from your mistakes. And when those boxes fill up, you go up in rank. So as you use your skills, you learn and get better at them. And after we do skills, we are going to jump into advantages and disadvantages. And I'll tell you the reason why I mixed it up a little bit is especially for new players. I like the idea of let's choose your class and your skills before you go to the advantages and disadvantages and say, hey, what other bonuses do I want to add to my character? So under strength-based, there is athletics, which is the character having the ability to have a small edge over normal people in most physical skills. Climbing, running, jumping, etc. Swimming. There is axe, the ability to use axes. Block, the ability to block physical attacks. Blunt weapon, the use of clubs, maces, etc. Hammers. Brawling is strength-based unarmed combat. Metalworking. Stoneworking. Polearm, the use of anything that is longer than you. Spear, polearm with a pointy end. And then we go into Constitution, Constitution-based meditate. It's interesting how meditate works in this system. Meditate allows the user to mind over matter and push through needing extra rest. If they pass a meditation roll, then you only need 2 hours of sleep, and you meditate for 2 hours and feel fully rested. But you can only do that for a number of days equal to your constitution before you need to get a full night's sleep. Under Constitution is also resist hot and cold. resist toxins, resist diseases, resist fatigue, resist hunger and thirst. And then agility based, you have acrobatics, archery, carpentry, long blade, short blade, conceal item, crossbow, dodge, escape, close combat weapons like brass knuckles or fighting gauntlets, lockpick, lashing, leatherworking, martial arts, unarmed combat that's agility based, pickpocket. Do we have pickpocket in there? No, that was lockpick, my bad. Piloting, which is the ability to maneuver vehicles that are controlled by mechanics, not by animals. Stealth, thrown weapons, traps, forgery, and whip. So intelligence based, we have alchemy, which is anything doing with mixing of chemicals of any sort. Astrology, cooking, engineering, heal, which splits into two different skills. First aid to heal life points, and medic to heal wounds, which a wound is when you take a massive amount of damage in one hit. It causes some permanent effect for a while. Let me correct that. Permanent and for a while didn't match it. It causes an effect until it is healed. So it could be I got a gash on my arm, and until that gash heals, that arm is just not as effective. Linguistics, magic skills, and this is where the different magic schools come in. So there's air magic, chaos magic, death magic, divine magic, earth magic, fire magic, illusion magic, life magic, nature magic, order magic, telepathy, thaumaturgy, time, and water. And several of those are actually illegal in the land of Toral. So chaos, death, time, telepathy are all illegal. And several others are restricted. There's a lot of rules on that if you'd like to look into them. But it plays a lot into the story of what's happening in the Empire right now. And then there's masonry, research, glyphs, token or relic creation, survival, herbalism. And then willpower based, a skill that I think is really interesting that hasn't been used a lot by players is beyond limit. It's the ability to mind over matter and push beyond your normal limits, whether it's beyond exhaustion, fear, or pain. It adds to those resistance rolls or to pushing past things like addiction. So a successful check lets you take one more action before succumbing to whatever you're doing. And then resist influence, resist magic, and empathy. And then in charisma, you have art, which is whatever genre you want, anything from poetry to music to painting to sculpting, all falls within that art skill. Bribery, deception, disguise. Drive, which is controlling a vehicle that is animal driven, so you're using your charisma to work with the animal to drive the vehicle. Haggling, mimic, intimidate, performance, persuade. Ride, which is riding an animal that's not attached to a cart or other vehicle. Train animal, inspire. And then under perception, you have appraise, cartography, detect deception, discern, eavesdrop. Discern, by the way, is when you are looking for something very specific. You would roll a discern skill to find that specific thing amongst everything else you're observing. Fishing, navigate, tracking, detect magic. And then luck-based. There are two skills in luck: gambling and omen. So omen is a skill of you just happen to always end up at the right place at the right time. It's kind of something that the narrator and you will work together on if you have that skill, to say you just always happen to be where you need to be to get what you need to get. So, has everybody had a chance to look through the skills and spend their extra points?
I have a question about the stone skin. Are there any, I'm not sure if I missed this, but are there any advantages to the race?
Say that one more time. Any what advantages to the race?
Any racial skill advantages?
There are none. And we do that
Okay.
on purpose because we want skills to be things you learn, not things that are natural to you. So the stone skin gives you 3 natural armor. If you look at the bottom of your character sheet on the left, there's armor,
Okay.
natural, total. Next to natural, you'll write 3.
Okay. All right, my question was kind of like a lot of these strength-based things, like brawling, sound that be very intuitive to my character. If they're 800 pounds and made of stone, I would think that like hitting someone just with their, without a weapon would do an enormous amount of damage. So I'm wondering if if they want to do an enormous amount of damage, if they still need to actually take a weapon, just the way the game is set up.
Nope. And in fact, if you go look under Brawl, it has a formula there for how much damage you do that's based on your strength. So the fact you are that strong and you take Brawl means you're doing more damage because your strength is that high.
Okay, so would you encourage, if that's what I'm envisioning for my character, that I take Brawl, or are you suggesting that I'd already be able to do that without that?
No, take it.
Skill.
Because there are golems, for example, that yes, they might hit and do damage, but they aren't trained to brawl. They just hit and do damage because they're naturally strong. If you're trained to brawl, you're doing more damage because that roll is going to be higher.
Okay.
Okay, and while you guys are doing that, the next place we're going is to advantages and disadvantages. So advantages and disadvantages in this game, and it starts on page 53, are optional, but I'm going to say, as my group, you must take at least one of each. You don't have to take any more than that, but you have to take at least one of each that makes sense for your character. And the reason why is because this is where you stand out from, for example, every other Stoneborn in the entire game. All the Stoneborns are naturally strong and tough, but maybe not all of them have this unique quirk that you seem to be born with, whatever you decide that is. Those are reflected in the advantages and disadvantages. All the advantages have plus points. All the disadvantages have minus points. The goal here is to get those to even out. If they don't even out, like for example, let's say you took 5 points in advantages, but only minus 4 points in disadvantages, you can lose a skill point to compensate, or you can gain a skill point to compensate. So this is another place that your skills might be modified as well. For example, people who had low skill rolls might say, I'm going to take some disadvantages and pump a few more skill points in exchange for the weaknesses I chose. So, as we move on, first off, players, do any of you have any other questions about skills before we jump into that? At any point, like I said, if there's something you've got a question on, stop me and let's dig into it. This is more than anything else to get you guys to play test and to get other people familiar with the system.
Mm-hmm.
In that case, let's go to advantages and disadvantages. And I encourage you strongly not just to take advantages and disadvantages you think would be good for the game in general, but what would your character really have? What makes them a unique person? And while you guys are doing that, yeah, I really don't think I'm going to be able to fix the frozen screen this time. So I'm going to have to make sure we fix it for next time.
Yes, I'm sorry, explain how we do the advantages and disadvantages one more time.
Yes, ma'am. So
You have to pick one of each category, you're saying, of each like square?
No. I'm requiring you guys to take at least one advantage and one disadvantage. It doesn't have to be in any square. It can be
Okay.
any of them. But the goal is to get them to 0. If it's not at 0, you use your skill points to compensate one way or another.
Okay, so I could take like 20 advantages and 20 disadvantages.
If you want.
Okay, and then if it says like +2 next to it, it's +2, and if it says, I assume there are some minuses. Yeah, if it says -2, you're saying those two would reach 0, right?
Exactly. And on the second page
Got
under
it.
advantages and disadvantages, that has points next to it. those points, either through using skill points to compensate or through balancing each other out, need to equal 0. Boop, 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 boop. And it is so interesting to watch everyone's face as they're digging in and reading as they go. Each of you have very different expressions. And not like I can show the viewers. Seriously, Jenna, you need to learn to mimic each one of us. No, just kidding.
Right, yeah.
Oh, my disadvantages work really, really well into my story.
Do tell. I want to hear.
So I've been writing it down as I'm going, and so I was in prison, right?
Yep.
And I've got PTSD, and I've got a vendetta against me, and a tragic relationship, right?
Yep.
So my brother's a noble. I was framed for having sex with his wife. He put me in prison, but because of that, I react really violently when I get put in a situation for things to get hot and heavy. So I'm afraid of ladies as well. So I've got a phobia towards women.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I'm also a coward.
Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. Okay, I
But my ex-wife's family are like a mob, and now they're out to kill me because they think I cheated on my wife.
Wow. So can I put a little bit of a caveat on there, because I'm assuming some of our characters are probably going to be female as we play this game. And that could be really, really difficult for you to have a phobia of half your party or more. Is it a certain species of female you have a phobia of?
Yeah, let's do humans.
Okay, there we go. That I can accept. There's no humans in this party.
What is this boring race you speak of?
And I gotta say, this is not pre-planned by any means, but I was going to start you in a human territory, so there's that.
Nice.
You guys might have to hide the fairy in a bag somewhere often.
Okay, so that means
So did you take any advantages?
2 points left over.
Yes, I'm observant.
Ooh, I like it. And did you balance out, or did you use
I
your
did.
skills? Good.
I did balance out.
I love it. Okay, Walrus, have you got your ads and disads?
Yes, I do. 1 second, I'm making notes for myself.
Notes? What are those?
I take them a lot, and they're typically illegible except for to me.
That's okay.
So my advantages are quick learner and learned. So I learn things real good.
Yes, you do. So with quick learner, and let me point this out to our listeners as well, the successes next to your skills, there are 10 boxes. Normally you cross off 2 of those. I'm sorry, there are 12 boxes. Normally you cross off 2 of those. Because he's a quick learner, he's crossing off 4 of those, and it takes 8 successes for him to go up a rank in a skill.
Nice. Oh, we just lost somebody.
No.
Yes, we lost Jenna.
But then for disadvantages, I took slow and slow react. So I'm really good with my brain. I'm not too good with my feet.
Gotcha.
Oh, that's so weird. So when Jenna disconnected, Manuel went into Jenna's spot and her camera was working.
So why is it
Really?
only, why is it
So it's
only
that
that
spot.
spot?
That may have been. Did you open multiple instances of Discord to get the
Yes.
cameras working?
Me? Yeah.
It might be that only the most recent instance of Discord you opened has the cameras actually working, while all the other ones have it frozen.
Right.
That's odd.
So I'm the chosen one again.
Yes, you are.
I definitely want to act this out next time.
Nice. Nice.
And I'm
Okay.
not busy building my character.
Well, once we get past this session 0, that's when the fun begins. And the interesting thing about what we've built in Rupture is there is a little bit of work to put on the character creation, but once you get past that, the rules are very easy in gameplay. Okay, Grace, do you have advantages and disadvantages for your character?
I mean, I did, and then I changed them. So,
Okay.
give me like 1 second, and then we'll figure this out. I think I'm gonna have a -1. I don't think it's gonna balance.
Okay, then you can balance it with a skill point.
Well, okay, so advantages is quick reflexes and jack of all trades, and disadvantages is illiterate, berserk, and magically incompetent.
Nice.
So I have a -1 to carry over,
Then that means you
But
add 1 skill point to anything.
but a plus 1d4 skill points because of jack of all trades.
Yes, you do. You get an additional D4 skill points and at every level up.
Two.
You
Where's
may as
the
well
roll?
count
I
that
got
as
one.
3. Oh, got you.
I get one. Okay.
So wait, you said you had a net -1, correct, for adds and disadds?
Yes.
That means you actually add a skill point, not subtract 1.
Okay. Then I get 3.
There you go. Okay, Maniel, do you have your advantages and disadvantages?
Was thinking about being a berserk. When I got within 5 HP, I go just berserk on everyone.
2 berserkers.
Was yep. Where is this about initiative? So that would be 7. Slow react. Oh no, maybe it's just slow because I will be in heavy armor, so it's normal that I will be just slow.
Okay.
And for advantage, was thinking of high pain tolerance, so +2 to round threshold, and then also rapid healer to get more regeneration.
Okay.
Then quick leader to stable it all.
Nice. Love it. So, did you balance out completely, or did you have...
Yeah.
Okay, good. Perfect. All right, Jenna.
I'm close. I'm 1 off, and it's a little tricky just to do 1. I'm finding. I'm working on it. Want to hear what I have, or you want me to come
I
back
would
to
love to
this?
hear what you have, and remember that 1 can always be used with your skill points.
Oh, I'd forgotten about that. Okay, maybe that's the best thing to do. Okay, I've got a list here. All right, so I have chosen for my advantages to be cool, have high immunity and high pain tolerance, poison blood, which is resisting poison, self-discipline, and then my disadvantages are slow learner, easily tired, noisy, slow, which is disadvantage in initiative, I think. Wait, is that right?
Nope, any rolls involving running of any sort.
Is that my actual speed? Yeah, and then slow react, which that's the initiative one, I think.
Yes, ma'am. And if you've got, are you one positive or one negative?
I'm one positive.
Then that means subtract a skill point and you're now even.
Okay.
Fantastic, people. So, as we jump into a couple more of the stats, and by the way, you're almost done and ready to go. As we jump into a couple more of the stats, how are you guys doing on coming up with a story with all these pieces that are falling together with your characters?
Getting there.
2.5 paragraphs.
Really?
Yeah,
That's it?
I'm getting there, but it's a little bit weird and disjointed still. So we'll see how this turns out.
You know what? I love it. If they're weird and disjointed, that means you have to be more creative to bring all the pieces together, which starts the story. Okay, what about you, Jenna and Maniel? How are you feeling about the backstory of your characters as they're developing?
I got already my bit. Sorry, what? Go ahead.
That's okay, go ahead.
So yeah, I got the big lines of my backstory.
Nice. Fantastic.
Oh.
Okay, so while you guys are still thinking about that in the back of your mind, let's go to the very top of your character sheet. There's the obvious things like the name of your character, your player name, some of the physical characteristics. Where it says race, we do need to change that to species. That's where your species goes. Class. Look down at the bottom of that top box, though. There's 2 lines I want you to pay attention to: the call to action and the personal goal. So call to actions can be any number of things. They really are a very personal thing for each individual character. But we find in Rupture that they split into generally 4 different categories. That is guts, glory, gold, or good. And this is what motivates your character to get out in the world and do things. So are you doing it because you want to prove something to yourself, you want to have more experiences, you want to climb the highest mountain just because you want to see what that's like? That would be a guts motivation. If you're doing it to gain any sort of finances or treasures or magical items or anything like that, or any type of discovery that adds to your own personal well-being, that would be a gold motivation. If you are out there adventuring so you can get praise, prove something to yourself or to others in some way, that would be a glory motivation. And if you're out there to spread a cause of some sort, or out there to promote a certain way of thinking, an idea, even if it's not one that others think of as good, that is a good motivation. So which of those 4 G's motivates your character the most? Good, guts, glory, or gold?
I think I'm gonna go with good.
Do we
That
have to
changes
choose
my
one?
backstory.
Okay. What was that, Grace?
Do we have to choose one of those? I have like a weird little messed up one. Like, so my mother's Manitoran, and my sister that doesn't like me is Manitoran incarcerated. So, and I'm a bounty hunter. So I'm thinking I imprison my sister and am trying to keep my mother free. Is what, like, so that's my call to action. I'm kind of trying to be a bounty hunter and hunting other Manitoran to hide my mother.
Then that would definitely be good. It may not be a good that other people see as good, but it's your version of good.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. So, what were you saying, Purple Gorilla? Good?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with good, but it changes my backstory to instead of being violently afraid of women, I'm violently afraid of Manitorn because my brother tried to kill me while I was in prison.
That actually makes a lot more sense, and I like that even better. Because,
Yes.
I mean, I was going to throw nothing but female NPCs at you from day one.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
But
Walrus.
my ex-wife's human family is still trying to kill me.
Of course, absolutely. That is going to come into play. Okay, Walrus, which of the 4 G's are your motivation?
Sorry.
I think I'm good also.
Okay, explain.
Well, Kitsune value inner peace and stuff like that a lot. I'm pretty sure that's inner peace, right?
Yep, but what is it that motivates you personally?
But yeah. But with that whole thing, I delved into researching of magic and kind of felt a connection towards the peacefulness of Earth, which is where I got Earth magic from, and order magic. So I have order magic also. And so my goal is kind of to try and bring peace to the Monotorn or to fix the chaos.
That is definitely good.
I guess. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely 100% motivated by good. Okay, Manya.
So for me, it would be guts, just to be the best craftsman and to craft weapons and armor.
Nice. So now, do you want to be the best craftsman and get the praise for it, or just do it because it makes you feel good?
Because it makes me feel good.
Okay, then definitely guts and not glory. All right, Jenna.
Good.
Okay, any explanation behind the good you are promoting in the world?
Yeah, it's a feeling of, it's kind of in the present moment. It's not like a mission, but like seeing suffering and wanting to heal or protect as it comes up in the moment as the character goes through their daily life.
Nice. I like it. And from somebody who had such a suffering background, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Okay. We have got 4 goods and a guts. That is an interesting. This is the first time. It is now historical. This is the first time I have had a group that there's nobody motivated by gold. Congratulations.
I mean, I'm already the ruler of a small town. I don't really need more money.
That's true.
I am
You definitely need money
by
to
my
run your small
people.
town.
Yeah. What'd you
Me
say,
neither.
Manya?
I don't need money. My mother is a fucking noble.
Yep.
Like, if I was a hero of the town that he ruled, and everyone hates him, and I'm just loved.
It could very well cross over that way. Because one of the things I'm going to have you guys do after this initial session is I'm going to have you do an actual write-up of a story of your characters for me. And based on the story you give me and how well you flesh it out, I'm going to be giving you bonuses to our first session.
Okay.
So, let's come to some of the finishing stats here, because we've got about 45 minutes to go in the stream, and I knew session 0 would take about this long. Especially working all together instead of just one person at a time just doing their whole character. But personal goal. The reason why this is so important, and I want you guys to really pay attention to, and some of you already alluded to your personal goal in your call to action, but a personal goal that is achievable, that you can see yourself making progress on. And the reason why is we know psychologically success breeds success. And as you succeed at these personal goals you set for yourself, your legacy item, which is a magic item that works only for you because it became magical by being attached to you, becomes more powerful. And or you get new legacy items. Very similar to, if you remember, the super famous movie that we've alluded to but are not going to mention names because we don't want copyright infringement. But when the main character named a sword that then became more powerful after killing spiders. So, your personal goal is going to be, right now, this is what I'm trying to accomplish. So I want you to think about what is that thing that you can put there, and I will give you plenty of opportunities to accomplish it. I build my stories around my characters. So do you have an idea in mind for what your personal goal is?
No, not at all.
Okay.
You know, I hate goals in real life. Like, I can't build goals in my own personal life.
Well, think about what you just told me about your motivation, Grace.
See, yes, but hiding my mother and hunting Manitoran to protect my mother is kind of like a lifelong achievement. Not really I can achieve this in 4 sessions. Let's go.
But first session, if you find a Manitoran and catch them, you've accomplished that personal goal. Your personal goal is, although it may be motivated by an overarching thing, and that personal goal may not change until you really feel like you've accomplished it, doesn't mean you aren't doing things to reach towards it. It's taking steps towards it that matters the most.
Okay, what if it's like something like getting my mom's name off of the list of Manitoran, like trying to get her, kind of like removing her identity?
That would be a perfect personal goal.
Okay, there you go.
And think about it, because you have that personal goal. Let's say you were given several opportunities to go on several different types of adventures. You might really lean towards choosing one that gets you close to that register where you can start to influence some people versus one that might give you personal reward. Okay, other personal goals?
I'm going to destroy my brother.
Okay. That could be a personal goal. Love it. Next. Don't speak up all at once now.
I'm trying to find the cause or the cure for Monotorn.
Okay. That's a big one. I think he just trumped your hugeness there, Grace. He wants to solve it all.
Yes.
Next. Okay, Maniel, do you have a personal goal?
I'm thinking about it. Maybe because a lot of my family was in Manatorn and they're incarcerated. My family fell out of famousness.
So your family's
Of the
been...
kingdom. And to regain the respect of all the noble families and the kings and queens, I will doing some big things with my craft to show them that we still can be supportive of the kings and queens.
Nice. I like it. So, to clear your family's name and to regain their good name. Love it. Jenna?
Okay, so what I'm getting is sort of along the lines of wanting to be more perceptive of how to, like, more in tune, like, in the moment with how to help more of the little folks, especially since they have, pretty low perception. But yeah, they feel like they want to be able to use their bigness and their power to be able to serve more of the little folks. And I'm sensing kind of like, can you remind me a little bit of the setup of this world? There was something about like the humans and the orcs and ruling a part of it. Because I feel like there's a little bit of tension there that my character's tuned into.
Absolutely. In fact, I will give you a quick brief history so that everybody's aware. And let me see if I can, since nobody can see us move anyway, I'm going to see if I can throw a map up in front of some of our faces for the viewers to see what we're talking about.
Okay.
Not that I was ever planning on putting a map in front of our faces, but hey, you work with what you have. All right, where did I put the map? Well, maybe I will if I can find it. But yes, so the empire that exists currently, the Terralian Empire, is made up of a human kingdom and an orc kingdom. And I'm going to keep talking while I find the map, by the way. But it's made up of a human kingdom and an orc kingdom who have a very shifty agreement with each other to keep the peace. They were fighting for about 100, 150 years or so. And a very wise elf came and said, you guys are tearing the whole land apart and you need to stop it. So in their efforts to stop that, they created this peace treaty. And in the peace treaty, it said that the human kingdom, the kingdom of Thoria, would be the ruling party over the entire empire. The Orcish kingdom, the kingdom of Gultak, would be in control of the religion of the empire and in charge of, and they would balance each other in that way. And they meet in a city called Middleton every now and then to enact new laws and make sure that this treaty stays in place. That being said, and there we go, got us a map. Okay, so I'm assuming everybody can see the map that's on screen. It may take a couple seconds because of lag.
In a minute.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep,
All right.
I see it.
Okay,
There
so
it is.
here you've got Thoria and Shildor as the human capital. Gultak and Derosk is the Orcish capital. In the middle is Middleton. That's where the Council of the Treaty sits, that's ruled over by the elves who helped create that. Most of the elves that did not agree with this empire being formed retreated to this large city of Ilsadel up in the upper right. So the empire itself encompasses the Riker Peaks, goes down to the Machanja Desert, technically includes the mountains of Lot Faltender, though the giants don't participate much, and it's only that central area. If you go north of the Riker Peaks that separate the empire from Ten, Tegn is spelled 10, or is pronounced 10. Lucia is one of the free human cities that is not part of the empire. And there are human cities all throughout there that are independent. In Budgwick, down in the southeast, is where the ogres come from. In the Enchanted Woods up north of that, that's where you find gnomes and a lot of fairies. If you go just northwest of that to Hawthorne, that's where the hillfolk live. So you've got people scattered throughout, and even though the empire is kind of the central piece of what has created the cultural landscape that everybody's in, it is not all-encompassing of the entire land you see. It is mostly the human kingdom of Thoria, the Orcish kingdom of Gultak, and the mountains just to the north and the east. They go a little bit into the desert, but the Rajin are by far more powerful than the empire themselves, and they rule their own empire throughout the desert. Does that give you enough to go on?
Almost. It actually sounds from your description like the situation's kind of stable. Is there tension in there?
There is. There's tension that's unofficial. Officially, the whole land's at peace. But unofficially, there are often spats between orcs and humans still that need to be settled, and the council decides who was at fault, etc. Because of each one of them trying to get more power over the other, and we lost somebody. Oh, there she is. Because of each one trying to get power over the other, you often have different laws passed that get more and more strict, whether it comes from the human emperor or the orcish precursor over the Princian religion. So, for example, the magics that have been outlawed were passed by the precursor of the Princian religion from the orcs. And then the restricted magics were passed by the emperor and the human empire. So they're competing with each other and becoming more and more strict, trying to gain more power. Most of the other races know that it would take little more than just a small thing going wrong to ignite the powder keg and restart the war.
Okay. All right. So my character, perception of that ripeness for tension, and wants to be able to help bring peace to the various little peoples.
Okay. And that would make sense because there's lots of different places where there's lots of little spats going on. For example, there's lots of cities in Tang that are warring with each other city to city. So there's plenty of tension to try to bring peace to.
And it looks like my region was a revolting population, the one I'm from.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Same.
Yep, and that could be any number.
So I'd have a great sensitivity to like the problems of a people.
Nice. I like the fact your personal goal is to be a peace bringer. If that sounds like what you're reaching for, am I understanding you correctly?
Yep.
Okay.
That's right.
Awesome. All right. Does anyone else have any other questions about the map, about the culture, about the people, before I make it go away? I'll take it as I can make that go away now. It's gone. All right. So go into your character sheets. There's a little box right next to your attributes called action stats. I'm going to help you guys fill that out really quickly. It's not going to take very long. This is the one place where math applies. The one place. One. So, your initiative base. Add your agility, your perception, and your intelligence together and divide by 3.
Dang.
That is your initiative base. And the reasoning behind that is your initiative, how quickly you react in a tense situation, has a lot to do with how quick you can move, how observant you are that something is happening, and how smart you are at how to move and when.
I got a flat 5.
Can we round down?
Always round down on everything except for when you were drawing cards in your background.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait, what are we adding and dividing? Sorry, I missed it.
That's fine. Initiative base on action stats is your agility plus your perception plus your intelligence divided by 3.
Okay.
And one of you chose a disadvantage that affects your initiative. You will put that modifier in the MOD section right next to it. Now let's go to your life points. Those of you with a constitution of 1, this is going to be very fun for you. So life points are equal to your constitution times 4 plus 10.
N.
Luckily, you have some big people in your group to protect you, because that you might get hurt a lot.
He said Constitution times 4 plus 10, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I guess it's 4 plus 10, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was just making sure that, like, it's 14.
Yep, 14, not 4.
Yep, okay.
I got 46.
Nice. And so I'm going to guess that our Stoneborn has 50 life points. Two. Okay.
It's like birds, because birds are bigger than you are.
There are a lot of birds that are going to be bigger than you, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And let's go your unconscious rating. This is the threshold at which you go unconscious once you fall below that. So your unconscious rating is your constitution plus 1. So for you people with Constitution of 1, when you fall below 2, you go unconscious. You have a very short window between unconscious and dead. Making this very easy, by the way, when you hit 0 is when you die in this game. There is no negative save. No, there's got to get fixed before you hit 0.
Okay.
Your healing rate is equal to your Constitution divided by 2 with a minimum of 1. And that's how many hit or how many life points you'll gain back as long as you're not in combat.
You said Constitution divided by 2?
Yep. With a minimum of 1, because we're going to have a couple of you that have 1s.
High five.
Right? And then your wound threshold is equal to your Constitution. This is where you guys with 1s have got to be careful. So let me explain what wound threshold is. And if you notice underneath, there's a level 1, level 2, level 3. If ever you get one hit that does more damage in that one hit than your wound threshold, you will take a level 1 wound. If it does twice that, a level 2. If it does 3 times that, a level 3. A level 1 means you're going to have some type of a permanent scar or reminder of that hit. A level 2 would be like, oh my goodness, you broke your arm and you can't use it right now and you're at major minuses. A level 3 is like, oh my goodness, your arm got cut off and you need to have that healed magically in some way and you're at major minuses. So at a level 1, because there is enough pain, you're at a -1 to all rolls until it's healed. And wounds cannot be healed by regaining life points. You could be at full life points and have a level 3 wound, for example. A level 2 wound means you're at -3 to all rolls until that injury is healed. A level 3 wound is you're at -5.
I'm just glad I'm not the only one that has to be afraid of birds.
Just a question
not
about the
bite-sized.
wounds.
Yeah, go ahead,
If
Manya.
you got a lot of level 1 wounds, would then that be level 2?
2 level 1 wounds equals a level 2.
Okay.
So we don't want to stack level 1s. If you end up with a lot of level 1s, it's a level 2 or a level 3. Once you get level 3, you can't get more wounds and you're just at the -5 till you get healed.
Okay.
We're not going to ultra stack them and make it unplayable. Any other questions about initiative or life points?
No.
All right. Let's move on to your magic points. I love the fact that Pineapple Dragon is suggesting we send a horde of angry doves after you, by the way. Yeah, and Pineapple Dragon, by the way, is our lead designer, Kenny. And in early playtests, we didn't have the +10 to life points, and every fairy ended up with 4 life points, and it was such a disaster. We said, okay, this doesn't work. We've got to fix this somehow. So coming on to your magic points. So this is a very crucial stat. Your mana base, by the way, is equal to your 2 class attributes. And the reason why this is attached to your class is the thing that you're doing the most often, spending skills on, spending your time, attention, and energy on, is naturally where magical energy will flow to you from the world. So, for the thief, it's just your agility. Whatever your agility is, transfer it to your mana base. For everybody else, you take your 2 attributes. So if it's strength and constitution, if you were a barbarian, you would add them together and divide by 2. So whatever your class attributes are, add them together, divide by 2, that's your mana base. And then that mana base is used to decide how many magic points you have. It's also used to decide how quickly you regain magic points and how well you can do things like channeling. So every round, you gain your mana base back in magic points when you've used them. So your magic points, unless you have an advantage or disadvantage that affects it, your magic points are equal to your mana base times 4.
Except me.
Your mana base instead of 4. And that goes next to magic points. Do not worry about current or attuned right now. When we create your legacy item, which is the last thing we're going to do on the stream, we'll figure out how much you attune. For spellcasters, there's a lot of spells to go through. There's a lot you can choose. Whatever your primary class skill is for spellcasting. So we've got a couple people that would be divine magic. Go to the spells. You pick 5 of them to start with. This is just 5 you already know and have already put into your relic or token. So for Walrus, that would be 5 earth spells. If you chose any other magic skill as a secondary skill, so for example, order magic for Walrus, you will pick 3 first order spells from that school as well. And you get to decide.
And if we have a third school, do we pick 3 for that one also?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because the idea is to learn that skill, you would have had to have learned some type of spell to learn it with.
Okay.
So for those of you that are spellcasters, decide as part of your story what it is you use to cast your spells with. Even the divine magic users, the cleric and the paladin, you have some type of a relic you use to cast that magic with. And it can be anything you want. Literally. I mean, the clay roof tile that Pineapple Dragon has in our other game. Which he wants me to remind you guys was just because he didn't have time to make a proper token out of anything else.
Sure.
Right?
Did the cleric have to go to magic school?
Say that one more time.
Did the cleric have to go to magic school?
The cleric is, in fact, we're going to talk about that right now because we're going to go into religion for the cleric and the paladin. Clerics and paladins do not learn their magic from magic schools. They learn their magic from whatever worship that they choose. They go to that temple or to that worship house and learn it from other priests that teach them how to tap into that divine magic that they see as gifts from the gods rather than magic you are learning to harness yourselves. So let's go to religion and go through that really quickly because it is kind of a part of the story that I love people to dig into. And then we'll talk about legacy items and we'll be ready to play for next week. So page 95 is where religion starts. That first page talks about the Princian religion, which is the legal religion within the Turalian Empire. And according to the empire, is the only acknowledged real religion. All the others are false. So if you choose to be a Princian, there are some details there of what that is. Every religious order has 2 things underneath of them listed as an avatar ability and a deified ability. When paladins or clerics get up to a certain level and get that order of spell, they automatically take on those abilities that make them either a demigod to that deity or give them a special bonus that is inherent now. Neither one applies at level 1. You'd have to get up to higher levels and learn that order of spell. But it does give a lot of personality behind who the person is looking at those abilities. But quickly, let me go over what the other major deities are that start on page 97. So you have Natatok, the god of sea and change, who's a large man with a fish tail instead of legs, and a large gray beard. You have Opugin, the god of war and fire, described as a large man with flames for hair, and is thought to live deep in the earth's core, creating magma. You have Altria, the goddess of mercy and home. She's described as an older female who is portly and kindly. She is often prayed to by those who have angered other deities. She is a peacemaker and thrives on simplicity and harmony. You have Versimilis, the goddess of peace and truth, described as a white apparition in a long flowing robe. She never smiles, but never frowns. You have Inamora, the goddess of love and beauty. Inamora is described as a cheery young lady in a pink dress. She rarely thinks of anything but love or beauty. You have Straton, the god of air and travel. He's described as a large male with a large beard and a mustache. He is blue and becomes wind to move from place to place. He's also semi-transparent. You have Siskatha, the goddess of river and orders. She's described as a thin and elegant female who resides in the rivers of the world, and is often described as a serpent or elongated dragon. She's also the chosen deity of the Skra, who live down in the archipelago south of the mainland. You have Dis, the god of chaos and wilderness. He has no set form and appears in various vicious animals or wild-looking men or women, and loves any situation that breaks the normal patterns of an area. You have Bande, the deity of death and pestilence. And this description is on purpose. It says they are a genderless god and looks like a black cloak surrounding a decaying corpse. Dis is not one entity, but spread into many throughout creation with the same appearance. Kalig, the goddess of darkness and secrecy. She's described as a dark-haired female with black eyes wearing a cloak that is black on the outside and scarlet on the inside. Aurora, goddess of light and knowledge. She's described as a blind young woman in a long robe and has a glow surrounding her. She is always very complimentary and seeks the value inherent in any being or object. Vim, the god of earth and strength. He's described as a strong, short male with brown skin and enormous amounts of facial hair. He is rumored to live in the mountains and sometimes is seen as a face in the mountain. And he is the chosen deity of the dwarven kingdom of Highkeep. Hipra, the god of revenge and deceit. He is described as a sickly, thin man with ragged cloak and wild hair. He always carries a rusty dagger with him. He is jealous and bitter constantly. Opul, the god of wealth and commerce. He's described as an extremely fat deity with elegant purple robes and an extensive amount of jewelry. He is a very greedy deity and hoards anything he sees of value. Junka, the god of time and balance. He's described as an old thin man with a long white beard and a long gray robe and carrying a large staff. He is patient and extremely wise. Bria, the goddess of life and nature, is described as a thin green female whose clothing is all plant parts. She is only ever seen in the wild. She's worshipped under many different names by shamans and tribes throughout creation. Vera, the goddess of fertility and harvest. She's described as a pot-bellied middle-aged woman who wears a straw dress. She moves slowly but deliberately. She becomes more powerful as beings cultivate, grow, and build communities. Demitris, the god of celebration and music. He's described as a long-haired, tall man who's always playing an instrument, singing, or drinking. He loves people and is the god most likely to interact with mortals. And Storak, the god of lightning and storms. He's described as a muscular man with long silver hair who rides clouds across the world. So, as a cleric and a paladin, you choose which deity is your main deity and from whom your gifts that allow you to cast spells come. And while you are doing that, we're going to work on legacy items for everybody. So a reminder, your legacy items the most important thing is this should add to your story in some manner. So, one of the cool things about legacy items is they start off with a minor effect that levels up as you accomplish personal goals. As you level up, it levels up with you, and it becomes more powerful because you use it more. So what I want you to do, and it can be anything from it adds damage, it protects me, it lets me read the thoughts of squirrels, whatever you decide makes sense to you. If it reads the thoughts of squirrels, that's going to really weird me out, but go ahead. Have you guys chosen a deity for my cleric and paladin that you want to be beholden to?
Yes.
Okay, which deity is yours?
Yeah.
I will be choosing Vim.
Okay. Beautiful. So why Vim?
Because he specializes in craftsmanship.
Fantastic. That makes perfect sense to me. Okay, Jenna?
My character worships Jumka.
Time and
That
balance.
seems like a perfect fit, being time and balance, because my character is very patient and is seeking balance in the outer world amongst the little peoples. And by worshiping, that would help increase their ability to perceive, which is exactly what they wanted and exactly what Jumka offers.
Nice. Very fantastic. And other characters, by the way, you are welcome to worship any deity you choose if it's part of your character's story. It doesn't have to be limited just to those who get special spellcasting gifts from their deities. So, other deity worship. Has anybody chosen a god? And if not at this point, that's fine.
I have
I
no.
don't have time for worship. I have books to read.
Nice. And it is not required, by the way, to choose a god by any means. There are plenty of agnostic and atheistic people. And even within the Empire, they would rather you be an atheist than worship one of those false gods besides the mighty prince. So let's talk about your legacy items, and then we are going to call it a day for today. On the third page of your character sheet, if you notice under magic and spellcasting, it says enchanted items. That's where your legacy items go. So first, we need a concept. And it can be anything. Seriously, you can have a bread pan that always has fresh bread every morning when you wake up. Because somehow that makes sense to your character. I know the example we use in the book is a hammer with fiery attacks, or a ring that blends you into your environment, or an earring that lets you talk to cats. Apparently we like this talk to animals thing as we use examples. So, do you guys have a concept for your personal legacy item? What about you, Purple Gorilla?
I'm thinking that it'll either be that my cloak either helps me blend in or makes me lighter so I'm better at dodging.
I like them both. And I'll tell you, one of the things I was going to do as a bonus, so I'm going to, you kind of poked at the present I was giving you guys. If you give me a well-written story by next week, what I'm going to do is increase your legacy item by a level, which means one of two things. Either the effect it has becomes more powerful, or you add a new level 1 effect to that item. So it could do both, as long as you give me a good story before then.
Well, I mean, I already have 3 pretty hefty paragraphs.
Nice. Okay, so let's pick one to start with for the sake of this podcast. Do you want to blend in, or do you want to be lighter?
Probably blend in.
Okay, so the blend in means we are likely adding a skill buff to stealth when you're using it, which at this level adds a +3 to your stealth roll. And because it's a level 1, it will last for either 5 minutes or 1d12 rounds if you're in combat. And you may use it 5 times per day. Okay, next concepts. Maniel, do you have a concept for your legacy item?
Yeah, but I'm looking for the English name.
Describe it to us.
It's this sort of souffle where you coat the iron.
A cast iron pot?
Yeah, for example. But it's if you push it, it blows up air and then it.
Oh, a bellows. That's called a bellows.
Okay.
Okay, so what effect do you want it to have?
That it would help me with my forge, and that would be also my primary weapon.
Ooh, I like it.
Blow my enemies.
I like it. That's awesome. Okay, so your bellows will be able to do 1d6 damage as a weapon. And also add to your crafting skill, whatever your crafting skill is.
Nice.
So it'll add that +3. It will do 1d6 damage as a weapon. And you can only use it on one target for now. And 5 times per day for your crafting skill.
So it's how much bonus on my craftsman?
+3.
+3?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. A 6. That's nice.
Nice. Okay, Jenna, do you have a concept?
I have an idea. The stone skin would have like a ring, except that it would really be like a bracelet, but for them it's a ring. And when they're wearing it, they and I don't know how much influence this is allowed to have, but they and everyone like within some kind of sphere, like radius of them, is able to have sweet dreams where they have where they find solutions to their problems. Ooh. And possibly, again, if it's possible for it to have this power, also can target enemies in battle to encourage them to fall into a pleasant sleep.
Well, like I said, my bonus that I was going to give you guys is either a new effect, so you have 2 effects on your item, or you increase the level of the effect. A level 1, it's going to be people that are within 10 feet. I'm going to give you a little bit more since it's when they're asleep. And I'm going to say that it's within at least a few yards, because I'm going to guess our entire party, for example, is not going to be sleeping 10 feet away from you. That would be really close quarters. So I'm going to give you that little bit of a sway because I love the story behind it. Again, story trumps all. And so that means that in their dreams, they get some hints and prompts of answers to questions they have.
Okay.
That's fantastic. I love it. So by the way, everybody, on your magic points, this is where you put attunement in. Your level 1 legacy item costs 7 attunement points, which means you're going to put attuned 7 and subtract that from your total magic points, and the remainder goes in current. Those 7 magic points are constantly in this legacy item because it's powered by your magic.
All right, say that again.
So on your character sheet,
I've got a 7 by my item under attunement.
Yep. And up at the top of your character sheet, first page, you've got your total magic points. Right underneath of that, it says attuned. You're going to write 7 as how many points you have attuned to an item right now. Which means your current is your magic points minus your attuned.
Okay.
Because those are permanently attached to that item for it to have its effect.
Okay.
Okay, Walrus.
I'm struggling on this. So with my research into Monotorn, I have been researching Order, which is where I got the Order magic from, but you have to research the other side of the coin too, so I have Chaos magic also. So I was trying to think of some way to incorporate Chaos magic and Order magic together in some way, but I couldn't think of anything.
I may have an idea for you. Let's come back in just a second. Let's go to Grace.
Okay.
Grace, you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
Mine's gonna be boring, guys. You all gave cool ones, and I feel like mine's gonna be boring. So one of my skills I chose was thrown weapons, and I'm gonna be super stereotypical, and I kind of want a knife that would return to my hand.
Ooh, that's
First
a good
off,
one.
I don't think that's boring. Yes, it may be something that a lot of people
boring.
want to do. But if you have a knife that magically returns to your hand, do you realize that doesn't matter if it hits its target, doesn't hit its target, gets caught by somebody, it comes back.
Yeah.
Okay.
I understand that if that even if it hits its target, it will return.
Well, I mean more, let's say you throw it and a fairy catches it, it comes back to you with the fairy.
With a fairy?
If it's holding on tight enough, sure, why not?
Hey, you just gave us teleportation.
So
Within the range of the knife.
yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to say you've got 5 uses per day of that coming back no matter what
Okay.
at this level. And of course, once you give me more of a story, we can either increase the level or give you a new effect on that. And you know what? Because it makes sense for what your character is doing, I don't think it's boring at all. It's just a piece of... And one of the things, you know, a lot of parties think they have to have everything be so cool, unique, and off the wall to be interesting. Some of the most interesting moments are when you do something that makes sense. So good for you deciding to do what makes sense for your character.
Yeah, I was thinking, kind of like it was the reason why it's one specific dagger that does this. It was either going to be a single dagger that did this, or like a pair of daggers that did something weird. And I decided to send a knife that my dad gave me, and my dad's dead, royalty, and probably I didn't grow up with him very much, so it's kind of like heritage stuff.
Nice. Does it have your dad's or your family name etched onto it anywhere?
I hadn't decided why I think it's or what's going to make it special that way. It might be that it has my dad's name engraved on it. It might have a family crest on the hilt.
Okay.
Or something like that.
Very cool. One of the things you all have to come up with on your story is the name of your item, and it needs to have a unique name to you. So whatever this item is, you call it whatever makes sense for you to call it that. Let's come back to you, Walrus, and then we're going to call it a week. So,
Okay.
Trying to combine order and chaos. This is not something that is normally done without really creative in-game play, but I could see somebody who studied the way your character did having an item that allows him to cast 2 spells from different schools at the same time for an effect.
Okay, I like that.
I will give you that much of a golden carrot. You flesh it out. And if that's the case, and if that's something you want to go with, you can use it 5 times per day. And the targets of the spell, it has to only be 1 target at this case. And can only work on first order spells for now.
Okay. So it's just allow casting 2 spells on the single target at once.
Yep. Of different schools.
Of different schools, okay. Yeah, no, that sounds perfect to me.
Because otherwise, you try to cast chaos and order at the same time. I don't. Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah. I don't know. We could figure it out.
We're about to. No.
I could mysteriously forget that I'm out of charges.
You could. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for being patient with us in the tech difficulties. This is the first time we've done a stream like this. So I'm sad you didn't get to see everyone's facial expressions, unfortunately. I promise I will work on it and get that a lot more fixed for next time. That being said, thank you to all our viewers, and especially you guys as playtesters. Thank you for letting me use you here on this broadcast so we can show other people the world of Rupture. Number one question. In creating characters, did you have fun?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's what I like to hear.
definitely.
I'm very excited to read your stories before next week, and let's keep chatting on Discord, and we'll flesh out what we need to. And I've got quite an adventure planned for you guys. So I hope you're ready to dig in and have some real fun.
Yeah.
So we should PM them to you?
Uh-huh. Yep, message me on the chat we have in Discord that's for the 5 of us. I'm going to want you to send me copies of your character sheets as well.
Okay.
All right, guys, remember, go to rupturerpg.com if you want to be part of the playtesting. You've got 1 week left to sign up, but if nothing else, sign up for updates. We're launching on Kickstarter in September, and we're looking at a couple of events coming up before then that we're going to be at, and doing some live streams at those events as well. We have a lot of goodies in store. We've got artists about to finish the logo.